NBC Sports Network welcomes you to the following presentation of the IZOD INDYCAR Series.
Take the 101 north from San Francisco over the Golden Gate Bridge, and some 30 miles later, you'll come upon Sonoma, traditionally a place where locals unwind with fine vintage. But this weekend, fine wine has been drowned out by the whine of IndyCar engines, as well as 4 drivers trying to call 2012 a vintage year. 3 drivers, Will Power, his Penske teammate Elio Castroneves, and Andretti's Ryan Hunter-Reay have never won a season championship. And now they're joined in the chase by Scott Dixon, who won for Chip Ganassi in 2003 and 2008. The NBC Sports Network welcomes you to IndyCar Central, presented by Verizon, where we'll set the stage for today's 85-lap race, coming up in about 45 minutes. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Northern California. We have just 3 races to go this year. They're all on different types of racetracks. The natural terrain course here today. Next Sunday, we'll be on the street circuit in Baltimore, and then in 3 weeks, we will be on the 2-mile oval for a 500 finale at Fontana, California. Well, 3 weeks ago, going into Mid-Ohio, it was a 3-driver battle for the championship, but Scott Dixon won there, and now it's a 4-driver battle for the title. Mid-Ohio 200 is underway. Power with a big jump.
Well, the leader's on pit road. Scott Dixon behind Will Power. Scott Dixon will win this race off pit road. That might change the complete complexion of this race. Wow. And, guys, a problem for our championship leader. He said we have no power. He said something's wrong with the engine.
Shadow touches Ryan Hunter-Reay into the runoff area. A bad day gets worse for the 28 machine.
There's Scott Dixon. This is the 8th race that Scott has led this season. And look at this. Ryan goes a lap down.
Be lucky if he gets to the finish with that engine.
They told Ryan Hunter-Reay, come on in. They are done for the day.
We can still make this happen. We can still go win this championship, but we can't have days like this. We just can't.
Scott Dixon owns this place with 3 victories coming into today's race.
Great run today.
Victory for Scott Dixon, his 4th here at Mid-Ohio, 29th of his career.
Huge credit to the team. The pit stop was fantastic. Just a great day for us. 28 points out. You know, we're well in the hunt now.
And so here are the point standings going into today. Scott Dixon 29 behind. Elio Castroneves down 27. Will Power won the pole yesterday, picked up 1 point, and his advantage therefore on Ryan Hunter-Reay is 6 points. To guide you through the rest of IndyCar Central, here is Kevin Lee.
Thank you, Bob. And I have Scott Dixon with us here in the IndyCar Fan Village. And a few of our friends have gathered. Oh, look, there's Will Power right behind us as well, coming over to keep an eye on you. Well, Scott won for the 29th time, last time out at Mid-Ohio. He's now tied with Rick Mears for 10th on the all-time IndyCar win list. And most importantly for this season, he's now very much back in the championship chase from 61 to, as Bob mentioned, now 29 back. And also, Scott, as Bob mentioned, you're the only one of these drivers that's won an IndyCar championship, 2 of them. How does that help you down the stretch?
You'd like to think it helps, but, you know, every year is definitely very different. I think this year's probably been one of the most challenging in the fact that it's been very hard to be consistent. You know, there's been so many drivers that have kind of almost run away with the championship and then had 2 bad races or a couple of bad races and then fall back behind. So, you know, luckily for us, I think the Mid-Ohio result definitely pulled us back in within striking distance. You know, 29 points is pretty easy to overcome. You know, we made that up, you know, last race at Mid-Ohio. So, you know, fingers crossed for Team Target. You know, we didn't quite have the speed here, I think, in qualifying. You know, Sonoma has been a tough place for us in the past. And definitely Penske are pretty strong here. So, you know, we'll try and turn that around today and make a good run for it.
People might be able to tell that it's a little bit breezy. It's been really windy on the track. How is that going to affect you today?
It's been really tough, actually. With this car, you notice the wind a little bit more, and you know, each day it's kind of flipped in a totally different direction. It starts, you know, behind you in the morning, and then you get a headwind in the afternoon, and it changes the balance of the car. It's almost like an oval. It's been really crazy, and you know, hopefully it should be pretty consistent this afternoon. But it's going to be interesting, I think, with the wind direction. Obviously, fuel mileage, they lengthened the race by 10 laps. You know, it's going to be a pretty crazy race today.
Off the track in between races, you and Emma and also Alex Tagliani and his wife Bronte got to take a trip to the Olympics. What was that like? Had to be special for Emma.
It was fantastic, yeah, to go to the Olympics and witness it. You know, obviously having someone like Emma, my wife, who, you know, firsthand knew exactly what it was like, was pretty cool to give you little tips and the inside tricks of what's going on behind the scenes. But you know, to see somebody like Bolt almost run 30 miles an hour, you know, that's pretty tough to do on a push bike, on a bicycle. So, you know, to see it and the way they put the show on and everything was unbelievable.
Well, he's going to go faster than that today, we hope. Starting 5th, Scott Dixon looking for his 3rd win of the season. All right, good luck today.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming up. It's here for Scott Dixon here, everybody. And we mentioned there are 4 right in the thick of things in the championship. There are actually still 15 still mathematically eligible. Probably the biggest thing to notice there is that race for 5th. 5th pays points in the season-ending championship. And James Hinchcliffe, Simon Pagenaud, and Tony Kanaan are still very much in position for 5th. Now, here's how the points will play out. We could have a new leader. Scott could be in front by the end of today, and we are not going to decide the championship today. 50 for winning. Scott already, Will Power rather, already picked up a point for winning the pole. 2 points for leading the most laps. It goes down to 40. Once you get down to 5th to 10th, it declines by 2 points for each. So much still at stake today in the next 2 weeks. For another great look at this course here today, and we're going to hear from 2 more of the championship contenders in just a moment. That's Will Power. We're also going to talk to Ryan Hunter-Reay. There's Ryan here coming up next from Sonoma.
IndyCar Central on the NBC Sports Network is presented by Verizon, official wireless partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
The GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma is coming up. Thanks for staying with us. Another beautiful look at the rolling hills here in the Sonoma Valley. And we are set to go racing in just a little bit. Call Star Indy for live in-car cameras, driver pit crew chatter, and more. Download IndyCar Mobile only from Verizon. Well, the Verizon driver has been dominant here the last 2 years. After leaving on a stretcher from a practice crash that ended his season in 2009, Will Power has been unstoppable here at Sonoma.
The Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma.
Scott Dixon's going to try to chase down Will Power, but it's not going to happen.
Will Power wins his 5th event of the year.
Yeah, bud. Good job.
We've got a car that's better than the Ganassi guys. I've got my 2 teammates between myself and Dario at the moment. If we finish the way we start, that'll be a perfect day.
We are underway at Sonoma. Will's going to get the advantage.
Hey, here, bud. Check your flag. Little Penske 1-2-3 today.
Will Power beats Elio, Briscoe, Franchitti, and Dixon.
Best weekend you could ever have. Team performance, unbelievable. Back on top again.
All right, well, I'm standing down here with the fastest guy in California right now. I might be the fastest guy in the world. Will, your 29th career pole. There's no question you can fly around these road courses, fly around the street circuits, but this is about the championship for you. You've been down this road before. You finished second a few times, you know, the last few years. What are you doing differently, if anything, in terms of your approach with your team, yourself, to bring home this championship this year?
I guess the only thing that I feel different is just more relaxed. You know, like you say, I've been through it twice before. You know, the things you can't control, you can't do anything about it, so you may as well focus hard on things that you can control and just, you know, get the points when you can. And, you know, I think it's at the point of the season where we have to go.
Speaking of relaxing, you know, a lot of these guys in the break, they're hanging out on the beach, they're going on boat rides. You're on a mountain bike, little whispers that you had a little off on the mountain bike. Any lingering effects?
No, I'm good. I'm not feeling it in the car. Briscoe's just pushing me a bit hard on the mountain bike.
All right, we're looking to make it 3 in a row here at Sonoma. It's Will Power. Marty?
Well, for the men's second in the championship standings, Ryan Hunter-Reay needs to gain 6 points on Will Power. Knows probably not his best racetrack historically. So how do you approach this race then, knowing it's not one of your better racetracks and knowing you still need to gain points almost every week on Will?
Well, it's tough. I mean, as a team, Andretti Autosport has struggled here, and we've definitely thrown the kitchen sink at it this weekend, and we did find some things. We started the weekend somewhere around 20th, and we qualified 7th, just missing the Fast 6. So we're headed in the right direction, but hopefully the setup changes that we did make for the race will be the right ones, and we can continue moving forward. I think it's going to come down to rear tire management and being able to keep the rears under you a little bit longer than the guy in front of you. Maybe you can pounce there towards the end of the stint, but obviously the Penske cars are very quick here. Ganassi's right there in front of us, and hey, we've got a shot at it. I've learned one thing this year is that any race you're in, you've got a shot at winning, and that's how I'm approaching this. So we're going to go out there, give it 110%. There's no conservative mentality on any side of it. I mean, I'm going for it, that's for sure.
He told me a moment ago, he said, I know this has not been our best track. Unfortunately, it's probably Penske's best track. We'll see how it plays out today. Kevin.
All right, thank you, Marty. And as we look at the IndyCar history here at Sonoma, we see that Ryan Hunter-Reay is the only one of the championship contenders that has not won here. Power, Castroneves, and Dixon have had good success, and Hunter-Reay's best finish here is in 8th. Well, I mentioned Elio has won here. He's always been quick, and he's going to start up front. We're going to go off the track with Elio coming up next.
Elio Castroneves may be on the verge of ending the longest drought of his career. The green flag will fly, and we're racing at Infineon. After suffering a devastating transporter fire, everybody was just wondering how they would do, and right now looking for a 1-2 finish.
The checkered flag is out. Elio Castroneves is the race winner at the Peak Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma.
And that was here in Sonoma in 2008, one of Elio's 27 career wins. But the winner of 3 Indy 500s has never won a season championship. And after going winless last season for the first time since 1999, some were left wondering if the racer in his late 30s would get the chance. But Elio won the first race of the season this year and has stayed in contention for his first overall title.
It's one thing I gotta show you while you guys in my house, you know, and people might think I'm a little nuts, you know, crazy, but I have my 2 Indy trophies and the mega Dancing with the Star trophy right in the middle. We're back again on Dancing with the Star show, so you think we can get another one? I think we can. Why not? I've been working extremely hard through my career. You set some goals, and one of my goals is obviously win the championship. We've been there in the past, very close to achieve that goal, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. We're in a very similar situation, and with that maturity, with that experience, I'll be able to clinch that dream that I've been dreaming for a long time. Yeah, I'm almost there. Is it okay, Michaela? You good? You know, having Adriana and Michaela in my life, as a driver, it didn't change much. But as a person, tremendous. I certainly becoming more patient, I guess. Because when you come home, a priority changes. You know, before it was just me. Now, when you have people that depends on you, it changes quite a lot. Good job. I like to take her to school and pick her up as well. But with her, it's nice just to play with her, and you discovering every time I'm coming from a trip, it's amazing how they grow fast. I'm very fortunate to be able to take them to some of the races so that I can see every stage of a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3, and keep going. So I'm proud to be a dad. Yeah. Family for me was always very important, you know. In my entire life, I had my dad, my mom, my sister, you know, always with me. And now, Adriana and Michaela. Whoa, 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 whoa. Michaela, she doesn't care if you win or don't win a race, you know. If you have a good day or not have a good day, she just misses you, you know. And that's, for me, is the best part of it. I want to win the championship so bad in terms of, you know, celebration, because I want to have Michaela there so when 20 years from now, she can look at those pictures and say, hey, I was there. You know, that for me, it's kind of like makes me going.
Okay, kid. Great women in your life, great place to live, great climate, beautiful cars. a mantle full of trophies, Dancing with the Stars, 3 Indy wins. Would you trade one of those Indy win trophies for the World Championship?
I would have never trade my Indy trophy for the championship. Let me tell you that. Certainly, I would work extremely hard to get my own IndyCar championship, but the Indy stay there. They're not going to go anywhere.
What do you think? I mean, you've been driving as good as you have this year in the last 10 years, but Will just has something. What do you think it is, and how do you beat him?
Good question. I mean, certainly he's a guy that is special on the road course, able to really fine-tune the car the way he likes it. Maybe like a type of go-kart, you know, kind of loose type. And, I mean, he's able to execute every lap. Sometimes put it together one corner, but he's able to put every corner. So that's one of the reasons he's succeeding a lot in the last few years.
You even changed your braking pattern this year, and maybe some of your lines to the track. I mean, it's tough when you've done this your whole life to change, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's... but sometimes you got to update. It's like I said before, it's like a new computer, you know. You got to get more memory or something like that, and it's tough to teach an old dog a new trick, but in the end of the day, it's working this year, and that's what I'm going to keep it.
Update kit. No gray yet, and no hair coloring. Kevin, this kid's still kind of young on the racetrack.
And not only is there no hair coloring, whether he's taking off a hat or a helmet, his hair never changes. It is always perfect. Well, Elio may not have won a championship, but he's come awfully close. Second a couple of times, and also he was third in 2006 and missed winning the championship by just 2 points. He's got a legitimate chance to get the title coming up this year, one of 4 with 3 races remaining. Well, they made some changes here to the course, hoping to make it a little more racy. That's turn number 7. It's become more of a hairpin turn, and also turn number 11. The straightaway lengthened a little bit. Wally Dallenbach is going to help us explain how these changes will impact the racing. That's coming up in just a moment. Stay with us from Sonoma Raceway on the NBC Sports Network. Welcome back to Sonoma Raceway, where we are about 20 minutes away from the green flag. There have been some changes made to the course here since last year. We sent Wally Dallenbach over to the Sim Raceway Performance Driving Center, located here at the track, to take us through a lap.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. We're here at Sim Raceway here at Sonoma. Unbelievable what they have set up here. A lot of you are familiar with simraceway.com, where you go online and race each other. It's a pretty cool deal. But also, they have real cars here you can run. They have the open wheel cars. They have the sedan cars. They have an R8, what I have my eyes on. But what's really neat about this is they have the simulator set up here. And right now, they're the only ones that have the new layout program. And you can go on there and program it. So right now, we're here. We're going to take a lap in one of the Ganassi cars, see what this thing's all about. Okay, now we'll take a real lap, but I'm not sure if I'm going to take this seriously if I can talk around my lap. I really can't do 2 things at once. Up the hill, roll the car, hard on the throttle, charge down the hill. Incredible how realistic this really is. Do the carousel, float, tricky part of the track here, hard on the gas. On the brakes, you can see a lot of guys locking wheels up here. Under braking, it's going to be tough to get in here. I'll tell you, the hardest part about this whole deal is the slower corners. And can I make it without hitting anything? See what my lap time is. 1:31. There's obviously something wrong with the watch. We'll have to try a little harder. Man, I was on a good lap, too. That was going to be a pole. I mean, this Sim Raceway, this is so realistic. It's incredible how realistic not only the track is, but how the car feels, what you're feeling in the car. I've used this program with my kids. I mean, there's been places where they've raced that they've never seen the track before, and we've used this program, and they've learned the track, and they've learned the cars, and then when they show up for real, their times are right there. So this is really pretty neat. Sonoma's going to be a great race. I think the track layout, the way they have it now, is going to produce some good racing. Should be fun.
I love that. I'm going to say I'll get one of those for my son, but I think I may be using it as much as he is. Well, since Wally's been black flag, we'll send him up to the booth, and we are just about set to go. We'll go up to the booth with Wally, Jan, and Bob Jenkins coming up next here at Sonoma.
IndyCar Central on the NBC Sports Network is presented by Verizon, official wireless partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series. Welcome back to Sonoma, where we are just moments ahead of the Command 2 start engines. I'm Bob Jenkins, along with my booth mates, Jan Beekes and Wally Dallenbach. It's incredible how every year the IZOD IndyCar Series has a great battle for the championship. Sometimes 2 drivers involved, sometimes 3. We got 4 going for it this year, Wally.
Yeah, in Mid-Ohio during my stand-up, I'm like, you know what, Scott Dixon's going to have a chance at this. He's going to have to do something spectacular. And he went out and won the race, and that was pretty spectacular. So he's 29 points back, and Will Power is so good at these racetracks right now. He's sitting on the pole. He's got 2 of his wingmen in between him and Scott Dixon, and Briscoe and Castroneves. But Dixon is on a mission. He really feels like he's got a shot at this championship. But I tell you what, today he's got his hands full. He's got his work cut out for him.
And Will Power told me this morning his biggest concern, pit strategy. He's been burned by that in the past. And IndyCar, as we know, added 10 laps. Their whole idea, let's not have a fuel economy race. Let's have a race that has 3 stops with wide windows. So what Will is worried about, if someone peels off early and then there's a caution and they have to close the pits, he's going to get buried. That's happened to him a couple times this year. So if someone pits early, he's going to be very, very nervous.
85 laps, just a little over 200 miles of racing coming up here in just a moment. Well, thanks for watching IndyCar Central on the NBC Sports Network, presented by Verizon. And we will get to that command to get things going when we return to Sonoma Raceway. With 3 races to go on the road to the IZOD IndyCar Championship, 4 drivers have separated themselves from the rest. Early on, Elio Castroneves won the season opener in St. Petersburg, with fellow Penske teammate Will Power following behind at Barber. But it was Ryan Hunter-Reay who peaked at midseason with a trio of wins to become the first American in 6 years to take the championship lead. With several second-place finishes and 2 wins, Scott Dixon has remained steadfast even when the unexpected failure happened.
Scott Dixon is out of the car. What a hit he's going to take in the points.
And found victory again at Mid-Ohio to keep his 3rd title hopes alive. Arriving in Sonoma, Will Power hopes to add to the pair of previous wins and increase his lead for his first championship title. A spectacular setting on a spectacular weather day here in the Sonoma Valley. Great weather, and we are anticipating great competition here. 85 laps of racing. The 27-car field is the largest since the 33 that started the Indianapolis 500. Well, the mayor of the city of Sacramento, which is not too far away, has the honors of giving the command. Let's go trackside.
Dana Fulmer.
Do it again.
You ready?
We're waiting for the command down trackside.
Race fans.
There we go.
It's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome once again Sacramento Mayor and Cal alum Kevin Johnson, along with Olympic gold medalists Aaron Cafaro and Dana Fulmer, as they give the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines!
The command has been given. The command has been given. Pit text when you're ready. Let me hear you.
Begins. And first, before we get this thing underway, let's get the latest news from the pit areas. We take a quick swing through. First, here's Marty Snyder.
Well, Bob, when Will Power and I talked before the season, he said the one thing that worried him about the championship was pit road. After all, this is a team that last year had 2 DNFs on pit road because of accidents. Remember a couple of weeks ago, Will and his team a little slow on the final stop at Mid-Ohio. That likely cost them the win in that race. Will told me we have a car fast enough to win, but I know this race may be decided on pit road. Robin?
Marty, since Sebastian Bourdais got rid of his Lotus and got a Chevrolet for power, he's been in the hunt every race. Should have had a podium at Toronto. He was 4th at Mid-Ohio. He qualified 3rd today in between his dad's team and Chip Ganassi's. And if they pull this off, Kevin, it'll be a hell of an upset.
Dario Franchitti is not going to win a 5th championship. Still been a pretty good season. He's won the Indianapolis 500. It's not been what he's won, but he's still fast here today. Keep in mind, he starts on black tires. He used blacks in the Firestone Fast 6, so he's got 2 sets of reds to go in the second 2 stints today.
Kevin, I just got hit in the head by a piece of debris from Mario Andretti's 2-seater. Let me tell you, to win a championship in IndyCar is a lot like winning the Indy 500. You cannot make mistakes. It's about minimizing errors. No racetrack invites more mistakes than this Sonoma surface. There is dirt in the ground. I can see it here in the asphalt. It's going to be fascinating to see who can minimize errors and bring it home today.
And Townsend, I would recommend you get out of there quickly because things are going to get busy. Well, there are a few changes as we have documented to the course this year here at Sonoma. Here's a unique view from our friends at GoPro.
Hey, what's up? This is J.R. Hildebrand. This is the GoPro course preview for the GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma. Exit at turn 11. It's sketchy coming out here. New turn for us, so it's a little low on track grip, but it's going to be a lot of fun for us. Going down the front straight all the way up to 6th gear, 165, 170 miles an hour as you climb the hill, bottoms all the way up, down to 3rd gear up the hill, blind crest at the exit at turn 2, a little loose as you get exit over the crest, up to 4th through 3 and 3A, across the top of the hill, another blind crest, a little loose at the exit, down to 2nd gear for turn 4. Continue on the exit at turn 4 through turn 5, you're flat out, 5th gear coming up over the top of the hill, right at the top of 5th. As you get on the backside, you're downshifting into 4, trying to roll as much speed as you can, going through the carousel, turn 6, all the way over to the exit curves, laying that power down on the exit, up to the top of the 5th gear on the uphill climb, heavy braking going into turn 7. We're in a new corner here, that hairpin corner, look for a lot of passing on the entry there. Good loose on the exit as it comes out, putting the power down, putting all 750 horsepower to the ground, through the S's, flat out in 6th gear. Coming down here at 170, 175 miles an hour, heavy braking down the hill into turns 9 and 9A. On the exit out of 9A, climbing up through the gears, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th as we go through turn 10, back down into turn 11 to finish the lap, down to 1st gear, through that new corner, and back onto the front straight. And that's your GoPro course preview.
12 turns, 2.385 miles in length. Don't miss a chance to get in on Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. Enter by logging on to shophonda.com. This week's lucky winner is Jessica Gunn from Houston, Texas, who's riding with Mario. Jessica, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How's it going out there?
I am the champion. Thank you, Osman and Honda. You rock!
I love it. By logging on to shophonda.com, Jessica won the opportunity to start today's race in the IZOD 2-seater driven by Mario Andretti. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Will Power and Ryan Briscoe on the front row. Second row is Sebastian Bourdais and Elio Castroneves. Row number 3, Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti. Back in row number 4, Ryan Hunter-Reay and Alex Tagliani. In row number 5, Simon Pagino and James Hinchcliffe. The 6th row consists of Rubens Barrichello and Marco Andretti. Graham Rahal and Mike Conway side by side in row 7. Conway quickest in the morning warm-up. J.R. Hildebrand and Tony Kanaan start from row number 8. In the 9th row, it's E.J. Viso and Oriol Servia. Row number 10 consists of Catherine Legg and Justin Wilson. The 11th row, Charlie Kimball and Josef Newgarden. Sebastian Saavedra and James Jakes are in row number 12. In the 13th row, Ed Carpenter and Takuma Sato. And the 14th row, Simona De Silvestro. Charlie Kimball has the Novolog FlexPen onboard camera for today's race. J.R. Hildebrand carries the National Guard onboard camera. With the HP on board, here is Simon Pagenaud. Ryan Hunter-Reay carries the Verizon onboard camera. Elio has the Chevy on board, and we also have an onboard camera with the pole sitter, Will Power, who's just about ready to go as he comes through corner number 11. Nice field of 27 cars lined up behind him. And the green flag waves, and the GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma is underway. Will Power shows the way up the hill, side-by-side racing back of him, though.
Free abreast there for a second.
Looks like everybody got through nicely. That's Sebastian Bourdais there in third spot, followed by Scott Dixon and James Hinchcliffe, who has had a, for the most part, miserable weekend, looking good.
Alex Tagliani, Simon Pagenaud, side-by-side, almost had side-to-side touch.
Wow,
whoa! Tagliani around the outside. He is going after it.
Drops the left side wheel off just a little bit, kicks up some dirt. Here they come down to the new turn number 7. Oh, and Dixon spins.
He had contact from Castroneves.
And that sends a lot of other cars off course.
But he kept it running.
Boy, somebody's got a problem up there up front. I don't know if they've got a flat tire or there's a lot of smoke coming from a car there.
Yep.
The rear body work was rubbing on a rear tire. Some more pieces coming off.
And guys, it's Simon Pagenaud. He says he has front wing damage on that 77 car. Somehow he got contact as well. They're debating on whether or not for him to come down pit road. You hear the radio, stay out. Let's see how long we can stay out and make the front wing live.
Yeah, I think they're going to get a caution, Marty, because there is debris out there. There's debris flying anyway.
There's the entrance to pit lane there on your right. Meanwhile,
Ryan Hunter-Reay to the inside. It's Dario. Whoa, that's a tough place. And at the same time, look at Alex Tagliani. He is on fire.
That's a nice move on Hunter-Reay right there.
That blue Barracuda car right in the middle between Target and DHL. He is on the red side walls, and he's going after those that are on blacks. Of course, you'll be faster on the softer reds, especially at the start.
And that's Rubens Barrichello back of Ryan Hunter-Reay in the 8th position. 9th is Hinchcliffe. Pagenaud trying to maintain that spot, but has damage to the front of the car.
Both Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti decided to go with the black sidewalls. They think about halfway through the stint they'll be better, but they may be sitting ducks, as we can see here on the early part.
And a battle for position. That's Marco Andretti, who is battling with Tony Kanaan for the 11th spot. Well, let's go back to the previous lap in turn number 7 and see what happened here. You can see James Hinchcliffe some damage. Yeah, on board with Elio.
This is where he made some contact with Dixon.
Oh, just barely, but...
And there's no way, Wally, I think that was a misjudgment. He wasn't trying to get by Dixon. He was trying to drop behind, kind of a boarding, and he caught him.
Yeah, but I think Castroneves thought that he thought that Dixon saw him, because there was a second there where it looked like he was leaving the door open just a little bit. And then at the last second, it looked like, Dixon came in, and I don't think it was any, obviously not intentional.
Penalty, avoidable contact. Mid-tech car 3, drive-through penalty, car 3.
There you go. Elio Castroneves has been ordered for a drive-through for avoidable contact on Scott Dixon.
And I agree with that call.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's a good call by him.
Drive-through penalty for us this time. Drive-through penalty. Bring it in.
And I don't think there'll be a lot of screaming by Elio. He knows. And again, I don't think he was trying to get by Dixon. I think he was trying to board and drop behind and just misjudged it.
So 2 of the 4 championship contenders are in a bit of a indifference here at the beginning of the race, as here comes Elio into pit lane, Marty.
As you see at the top of the screen, Scott Dixon has dropped back to 15th. He did report to Mike Hull. Everything is fine with the car, so if they can sequence back in with everybody else, they should be okay. Car chassis-wise is fine, and they're pretty quick in morning warm-up as well, so all is good for Scott Dixon, just lost a ton of track position.
It is a 60-mile-an-hour pit speed limit, and Takuma Sato is off course. Scott Looks like Sato has the car running, going to be able to get back on track, or is he? That's a downhill area, so apparently he is not under power, is going to come to a halt there, right in front of one of the safety vehicles. There is Josef Newgarden, as Elio has come out just ahead of Josef, who is not having a good weekend, and Elio is in 21st position.
Dug himself a hole right there, that's for sure. A lot of cars to pass.
That's Justin Wilson up ahead.
Tony Kanaan, that's that same battle we've seen, but he now pulls it off on Marco Andretti.
So Kanaan moves to 10th. Andretti, of course, a former winner here, winning in his rookie year in the Eyes on IndyCar Series. Graham Rahal now right behind Andretti. Take a look at Kanaan's move on Andretti.
And see, you got to get up there far enough so the guy you're passing knows you're there. I mean, there was no doubt about it. Marco understood that the corner, he just lost it because Kanaan was all the way up next to him. But that's what you have to do on that part. That corner right there is a great place to pass, but you've almost got to commit yourself to it and say, all right, I'm going in, so the other driver can see it.
Sebastian Bourdais running in 3rd position. Good to see him qualifying well and running here in the early going.
Even after the first session, he said the car rolled off the transporter well. We had a chance to test, and of course, that's Sebastian Bourdais. That unfortunately has been their Achilles heel, I guess you would say. They haven't had an opportunity to test being a new team, especially having the Lotus power plant early in the season, and now he tests, and look at that speed, Kevin.
It was fun to talk to Sebastian yesterday after practice before qualifying. Very animated, not in an angry way, just describing how difficult this track is. Says it's the toughest he's been to all year. Very tough to figure out and very sensitive. Such narrow windows in the setup, but I think they found a pretty good one.
4-time kart titleist from 2004 to 2007. Will Power is the leader. This is the 9th race that he has led this year, the most of all drivers. We'll be back in just a moment to Sonoma. The GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma on the NBC Sports Network is brought to you by GoPro, the world's most versatile camera. Be a hero. GoPro. By Honda, an official vehicle of the Eyes on IndyCar Series. And by Novolog FlexPen. Ask your healthcare provider about the benefits of FlexPen today. In the early going of the GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma, 7 laps have been completed, and Will Power is showing the way. He's already stretched out to a 2.6-second advantage on his teammate, Ryan Briscoe. Sebastian Bourdais running 3rd, then Franchitti and Tagliani are your top 5. There's a second-place car of Ryan Briscoe. Here's the separation between 1st and 2nd, and 2nd and 3rd. There is Alex Tagliani, who has moved up to 5th position. And Tony Kanaan, who has been in a battle with Marco Andretti, but he has separated himself and now comes up on James Hinchcliffe. The biggest mover so far, Kanaan. He's gained 6 positions. Saavedra has gained 5, Viso 4, and Rubens Barrichello has also gained 4 positions.
Yeah, Bob, Tony Kanaan, biggest mover of the race so far, obviously, but also thought he had front wing damage. He was rated to the team, saying, I think I hit something with my front wing. They said, you're fine. We'll look at it on the next pit stop, tell you if you're okay. The guy right in front of him, James Hinchcliffe, that you're looking at, also does have front wing damage confirmed. He will be pitting as early as possible for his fuel window, possibly the next lap, to replace that front wing, fill it up, and try to make the strategy work.
Hey, what, Hinchcliffe is running good laps for having wing damage right now. He's hanging right there.
And Townsend Pagano also has front wing damage, so those 3 cars, those 2 in particular, right together, had contact.
Early on, it was quite a first lap for Pagano, as he and Alex Tagliani were very, very close. This is down into turn number 7.
On the outside of Dario, then watch this. We thought, Wally, that they touched, and they did. Now remember, there's a lot of bragging rights going on here because Tagliani, who now tries to go to the outside, drove that car. Pagenaud took his spot. So they're battling over saying, okay, I can show you what I can do. Marty?
And guys, remember we talked about the Simon Pagenaud front wing damage, or what he thought was front wing damage. They're going to pit about lap 13. They want him to stretch it as long as he can, stay out there as long as he can, and keep it out on the track. So they're going to try and go to reds. But he said after that little contact that we just saw, he has an extreme understeer in left-hand corners. The car just will not turn the way he wants it to, although he's pulled away from Hinchcliffe right there, isn't he, guys?
Just a little bit, put about 3 car lengths between himself and Hinchcliffe.
And there's a lot of damage. We saw the side-to-side contact, but there was also some contact coming down from turn 7 that really, that's when we saw the smoke. Remember, Wally, on the tails away shot? That was coming from the front there of Pagenaud's car, and you can see that front wing definitely rearranged.
Rubens Barrichello running in the 7th position.
You know, for the 3rd race in a row, he has out-qualified both Tony Kanaan, his teammate, and E.J. Viso. And this is a racetrack that he feels very comfortable. It was one of the test facilities that they used, and that's the one thing Rubens has said. It's been hard for me to learn new tracks, but this one I know.
Yeah, Jan, I was talking to Rubens yesterday, and I think he's been surprised how much track knowledge has played into his learning curve this year. I think he just assumed it would be, fairly straightforward to learn these tracks on a race weekend. He underestimated that. That's what he told me. He says, first time I'm coming back to a track I really know, and it's making a big difference. So he's looking forward to IndyCar next year. He says he loves the sport, can't wait to come back and apply everything he's learned.
So Barrichello currently is in the 7th position. Here is Franchitti, who is running 4th, but he's already more than 15 seconds behind the leader of the race, Will Power.
But not a bad job considering you're on the black sidewalls. That's a bit of an alternate strategy to just kind of hang in there at the early part of the race. And so he is, I guess you would say, first in class for those that decide to start on the primary blacks.
There are mathematically 15 drivers still eligible for the championship, but realistically it's down to 4, and looks very, very bad for Dario Franchitti to win yet another championship in the IZOD IndyCar Series. Marty?
Well, Jan, you were mentioning the tire strategy for Dario Franchitti and his teammate Scott Dixon. I asked Barry Wanzer about why they decided to do that, and you touched on it. He said, we really just wanted to hold our own. They started 6th, and they've moved up 2 spots, so they're in 4th. So I think they would take it if they were able to pit right now. The theory being, when everybody else goes to the black primary sidewalls, they'll be on reds later in the race, and that's when they expect to make ground. They honestly just hope to stay in the top 6. They've actually gained a couple of spots, and they're holding their own with Alex Tagliani behind them in 5th.
All right, Franchitti maintains his position in 4th. Will Power has led at every street and road course race this year, except in Detroit, where Scott Dixon led every lap. He's in front by 4.1 seconds over Ryan Briscoe, Sebastian Bourdais 3rd, Franchitti and Tagliani 4th and 5th. GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma underway here with 12 laps completed. The leader is Will Power by 4.5 seconds over Ryan Briscoe. Pretty good battle going on back here for 16th and 17th position. Mike Conway and J.R. Hildebrand. Notice the different colors for J.R. Hildebrand's car, honoring the San Francisco 49ers. Jim Harbaugh, of course, the coach of that team, and he is a co-owner of Panther Racing. And by the way, Takuma Sato, who we saw off course a while ago, is out of the race. Apparently an engine problem has sidelined him.
Looks like Hildebrand's biggest problem right now is getting the power down, Jan. I'm kind of watching him during the break as well. And you listen to him right here where he gets on the throttle.
And he got down to 39 in qualifying. We saw in practice, we saw 42, 43. So that few miles an hour makes a big difference.
Right on the board for us. We'll have a good stop.
Scott Dixon comes in.
Of course, after getting
Marty?
Concentrate on flare.
Guys hitting pit road as soon as that window opened. Dixon didn't want to pit. They're trying to do everything they can to gain as much track position as they can, and also getting on those sticker reds. Remember, we talked about starting on those primary tires, sticker reds for Scott Dixon. Actually, pretty happy with the chassis of the car as well.
Wow. That's what happens when you're on cold tires.
Yeah.
Charlie Kimball had a problem getting off of pit lane for the morning warm-up today.
Hit the button just leaving pit road, and he got a quick education on what happens on cold tires.
Yep.
And you know what? Right here is where you earn your money, when you leave the pits on cold tires.
Actually, Charlie has had problems twice this weekend. Watch this. Now, this is in the same corner that Will Power had his bad crash a few years ago. Side contact with the wall for Kimball. But he was able to make repairs to the car and qualify. But then earlier today, here's what happened, leaving pit lane.
And you're right, Jan. The guys that can get up to speed as quick as you possibly can on cold tires, they make so much ground up on a racetrack, but you're absolutely right.
Here comes Elio in. He's got an easy in. He's around the middle of pit road. He fell all the way back into the mid-20s. He's worked his way back up to 21st position. He's going to take the black tires this time. Right now, he's looking for some open track position to turn some good quick laps.
Yeah, he's going to be looking for a caution. Get him back in this deal.
If you're just joining us on the first lap, Scott Dixon spun, and Elio was given a drive-through penalty for avoidable contact. There is the leader, and Elio exits the pits not all that far ahead of Power.
Yes, Scott Dixon spun with an assist from Castroneves, who then, of course, got to drive through. Which doesn't help Scott Dixon, unfortunately, but thankfully he kept it running.
Well, guys, knowing the tire strategy with guys behind them, Tim Cindric told Will Power, go as hard as you can. You can't quite do qualifying laps, but go as hard as you can. Gap the other cars as best you can. I would say he's doing a pretty good job of that, wouldn't you guys? As you watch Tim Cindric watch on as he's instructing Will Power, go as hard as you can. They'll pit in about 10 laps. Kevin?
We'll see Oreo Servia come in. Here he turns the corner coming in. He had a rough start to the weekend, but he said they really found something today. They were third quick in the final practice. Maybe it would have been quicker if they had not been held up. Right behind him, Justin Wilson is going to come in. It's a routine stop for Servia. He's on the sticker red. Wilson out right behind him. He's going from black to black this time. A little slow on the stop for Wilson.
Wilson took a TIG grid penalty for an unapproved engine change.
You don't see that very often, black to black.
No, that might be a pretty good move, too.
Here comes the leader at start and finish. Leaders at start and finish right now.
That's, of course, the communication to Justin Wilson. In other words, you're on cold black tires, by the way. See if you can hold off Will Power.
Yeah, right.
Good luck.
He's been able to pull out a lead of about 4.5 seconds that has remained constant for the last several laps. And we expect James Hinchcliffe, who is running in 9th position, to make a pit stop soon. There's Josef Newgarden showing new colors on that car. Angie's List is the...
Oh, there's a bit of a shortcut
and
as Hinchcliffe does hit pit road.
Guys, Hinch coming in and got to repair that front wing. The problem is he doesn't know what the balance is going to be like with a good front wing, so he can't give any feedback to his team. He's going sticker red tires. The nose comes off cleanly. Here comes the new nose on. They got those little cam locks. He's going to give 2 twists, the mechanics, and the wing's good to go. He's down to the weight.
That was nice. He got a front nose and beat Conway out.
Yeah. There goes Conway, who again was the fastest in the morning warm-up.
We need good out laps. Hustle on these out laps, bud. Let's try to make up some time.
Saavedra and Charlie Kimball also made pit stops. Saavedra in his only 2nd race this year with the ISOT IndyCar Series.
Oh, look at this. Now Will is going to have to negotiate through this pack. So you got Justin Wilson, who's trying to keep from going a lap down. His tires are hot. It is behind Charlie Kimball, who just came out on cold tires.
Yeah, probably keep going. Keep digging hard.
Whoa!
Wow, yeah, Wilson's really got his hands full right now.
He tried.
Yeah.
Castroneves to the inside of Conway.
That's the leader in front of you. Leader in front of you. That's Saavedra leading that foursome. And Marty Pagano's in.
Yes, he is in, and they are going to change that front wing. A little bit of damage to Simon Pagano's front wing. The front wing goes on very quickly. It'll be sticker red tires for Simon Pagano. Reds for the rest of the day, and an air pressure adjustment. Vizo and Pagano go by, and Pagano leaves pit road. Will Power will pit this lap as well.
Here he comes. The leader on pit lane.
Not what you're looking for on an in-lap to get stuck in traffic, but he had a big gap.
A long way down to his pit box. Finally arrives, and the crew will go to work.
Long way down here, as you mentioned, Bob, all the way down to the very front end of pit road. They actually pitted a little bit earlier than they expected because Power was starting to encounter lap traffic that was holding him up. Scuffed black tires. We'll see where he cycles out with everyone else, and if he can hold on to this lead through these cycle stops, Bob.
And he comes out with Ryan Hunter-Reay.
That was a slight payback if you go back to Edmonton. Listening to Tim Cindric, but and there's Newgarden off in turn 9.
Down to Townsend with Barrichello stop.
Guys, new sticker reds for Barrichello. He wanted a little bit less front wing, which means he's a little loose in those high-speed corners. He's off and away.
Okay, you got leg. 5E now. We need to beat her up the hill, bud. Beat her up the hill.
Lots of radio coaching going on.
Here's Graham Rahal making a pit stop. He was in 11th position. Now he goes back out on the track. That was a nice 7-second pit stop for Will Power. Went very, very well. Rahal comes out ahead of Pagano.
Now Pagano is ahead of steam.
Here comes Ryan Briscoe, who did pick up the lead with the pit stop by Power.
So what'll be interesting is that hold up for traffic for Power. We'll see how that works for this guy.
Right, yep. Because I think Briscoe did make up some ground on him.
Yeah, we'll see how the cycle's out, guys. Scuffed black tires going on for Ryan Briscoe, who's very happy with the chassis. See if he can gain some time on his teammate, Will Power. He heads back out pit road. A nice little stop, and we'll see where he cycles out.
Yeah, he's going to be
about the same.
Yeah, about the same distance behind Power, it looks like. Here comes Bourdais.
Same time as Franchitti gets his service.
Dario, former winner here. And there's Tony Kanaan, who gets a wing adjustment and back on the track.
TK on used blacks.
Now, what we saw in that first cycle was we saw that Ryan Hunter-Reay was able to cycle ahead of Will Power, and I said that was payback. Remember, it was Edmonton where, and there's a move. For a moment there, I thought that Marco Andretti was going to look to the inside of the carousel. That would take some big-time bravery to pull that off.
This is the battle for 6th position. Bourdais and Andretti as he looks to the inside in turn 7. Can't do it.
Oh, but Bourdais gives him room. Wow, discretion, I guess, the better part of valor. He kind of gave that to Marco because he was afraid if he turned in Wally, it was going to be contact.
Yeah, like I said, Marco committed himself. I mean, he went in there and presented it, and it's like, once you're on the inside, you know, that driver on the outside can see it. You got to give him some room going through there.
And I think Sebastian, just that he does not look as though the balance he's happy with on the blacks. He was looking very racy on the reds, but the cars really changed. And after all that, Marco hits the pits.
Here's Tagliani in for his stop with the Barracuda Networks car.
Yeah, when we talked this morning, Bob, he wasn't very happy with the chassis of the car, but he gained some spots in that first little run. Sticker red for him. No changes for the chassis at all. Very happy with how it's running.
Ryan Hunter-Reay picks up the lead as Andretti, as we mentioned, comes in. Kevin?
And Marco has worked his way up to the top 5. They're going to add a little bit of front wing on this stop. They're going to the red tires. There you can see the adjustment on the right front of the car. That's a good quick stop for Marco Andretti.
So you saw Ryan Hunter-Reay's crew bringing out the tires. So he is the leader at the moment.
Just going through 1 now.
And he's been keeping Will Power behind him. But, of course, we know Hunter-Reay is going to peel off to pit lane. So I was able to check the time when Castroneves got his drive-through. He lost 21 seconds for a drive-through. That's without a stop. So we got to figure 28 or so seconds now. Hunter-Reay is going to drop behind Will Power.
And now the cycle is complete as Ryan Hunter-Reay comes in for a stop and gives the lead back to Will Power. Ryan Hunter-Reay led a lap, but the man of the day so far has been Will Power.
Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay has won twice, he's noted, from the 7th starting position so far this season. That's where he started today. Halfway through this stint, he was told, go hard, don't save fuel. So that's notable that he still went a lap or two longer than most of the others. It is sticker reds this time for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He's back out. We'll watch where he cycles in. Stay with us. Look to have a good one here at Sonoma Raceway on the NBC Sports Network.
It's the GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma here on the NBC Sports Network. Will Power has things under control with a 3.7-second advantage on Ryan Briscoe. Sebastian Bourdais running third, then Franchitti and Tagliani. Everybody has made pit stops. Among the last to make their stops, Catherine Legg. She was in for a stop. And so everybody has taken on fuel and tires here in the first stint. There's the number 9 car of Scott Dixon. He has moved up to 7th position. Now remember, on lap number 1 in turn 7, he was spun by Elio Castroneves. Castroneves called for avoidable contact and made to serve a drive-through penalty. Here's what happened.
Yep, made a nice move here. Another, and you know, they talked about creating this down here to where you could get some passing. So far, it's produced some passing.
That is
Dixon.
Moving to 7th around Barrichello.
Yep.
So Dixon is in 7th position. Castroneves, however, is back in 19th as he has not been able to gain nearly as many positions as Scott has.
Now, the other benefit of changing that corner was not just there's more passing, but when we had that first lap incident, people had a place to go. You could drive around the outside, kind of go on the old section of the course, and because Scott Dixon got himself refired and kept it running, we actually didn't lose any cars in what would have been potentially a pileup in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Castroneves lost an extra, what, 28 seconds or 20 seconds having to do the drive-through.
You know, another interesting thing about Dixon, guys, I was just talking to Takuma Sato, who had an engine problem. That's why he's out of the race. I asked him, is anti-stall working on the Hondas? Because I've been a little unsure. Is anti-stall actually operative? And Takuma said the Honda teams have tested. He said it should be working. So that little software adjustment or whatever they figured out to get anti-stall working could have made the difference there for Dixon.
But regardless, Dixon's got to have a caution. He's 32 seconds back in the leader. He's not going to make that up. So, I mean, he really needs a caution to make that ground up.
Conway and Hinchcliffe, it seems, have been battling all race long. This is 15th and 16th. We have not seen a caution the last 2 races.
Let's talk about that a lot, Bob, because a lot of times when we say there's been no caution, how many years it's been? Sometimes, but, you know, we haven't been successful in the last 2 races. We keep talking about it, but there's been no cautions. It's unbelievable.
Hey, Bob.
Yo.
If it continues like this, I am prepared to throw myself out in front of the track and bring out a full course yellow.
Oh, boy.
Or maybe I'll wait till the end so we can have a green-white checker.
There you go.
Conway is all in Hinchcliffe's mirrors right now. You going to take a look?
You're now 145 miles an hour on this approach.
I think he was going to take a look, but...
So you knock off 100 miles an hour there, 145 on the approach, down to the low 40s in turn 11.
You know, Mike Conway's a guy super frustrated yesterday and Friday with the balance of their car. He really feels like he needs a result to respark team owners' interest in his abilities. Don't forget his team owner, A.J. Foyt, talking to A.J. Allmendinger about a potential opportunity next year.
All right, so here's
AJ calling AJ. That could get a little confusing.
Here's the battle for 3rd position. Bourdais leading Dario Franchitti as we are 25 laps into this 85-lap race here at Sonoma, California. Will Power with a 4.5-second lead on Ryan Briscoe. Stay with us on the NBC Sports Network. 27 laps completed here at Sonoma out of 85. We've had 3 leaders and 3 lead changes. Will Powers led 24 laps, Briscoe 2, and Ryan Hunter-Reay was out front for 1 lap. This is 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Tony Kanaan, Simon Pagenaud, Graham Rahal, and Marco Andretti.
Now watch Simon. He should be able to get a run here. He's got grippier tires. Boy, he needs to be a little bit closer. Surprising that Kanaan can get that well off the bottom of the carousel. Oh, don't do that. We've seen that earlier.
Here comes E.J. Viso and J.R. Hildebrand also.
Boy, Simon climbs all over him in the slower stuff, but Tony Kanaan has got a nice setup in the carousel. And for whatever reason, Simon couldn't seem to stay with him, and that's what he needs to do. That's the best passing area into 7. Quite a variance of line there.
Yeah, and it really is. Just like I was down there when they were practicing and watching the cars come through there. And there's 2 or 3 different lines that you can take through there. I didn't see which one was the better, but there is certainly a lot of room to move the car around over there.
Only 1 car out of the race so far. That's Takuma Sato. A couple of cars are a lap down, namely Simona De Silvestro and Ed Carpenter. 24 cars on the lead lap.
And you're right, Jan. This is where you have to be set up. This is where you have to be good so you can get close enough to the guy in front of you so you can try to outbreak him going into this next right-hander.
Just can't see
Kanaan's strong there.
Here's what happened with Saavedra coming up behind Castroneves. This is where they've moved turn 11, and sure enough, Saavedra, as doing his first race on a road course in this car, only did Indy. He's been very impressive.
Very impressive in practice, qualifying, and so far in the race. Let's go through the field. Izod takes you there. First, we start with, of course, the leader, Will Power.
And he's making it look easy here in wine country, Bob, up in front, trying to do what he's done the last 2 years. Start on the pole, lead the most laps, and win the race here. But this time he could do it in his 100th career IndyCar start. He's on scuffed blacks, as is his teammate behind him, Ryan Briscoe. Both of them first and second. The only thing Power said on the radio, how far back is Briscoe? The only thing Briscoe said on the radio, how far till I can get to Will Power? So they're trying to gauge how far they are from each other and how far they're ahead of everybody else. Kevin?
Sebastian Bourdais enjoyed his best start of the season here today, 3rd. That's where he's running right now as we see Ryan Briscoe. And we'll look back, and there we'll find Sebastian Bourdais with McAfee and also TrueCar on the side of it. No coincidence that their best finish, 4th in Mid-Ohio, was the first time they had tested somewhere, and they've also tested previously in Sonoma, Marty.
Gaining ground is Dario Franchitti in the 4th position. He put those sticker reds on last time, trying to get past the guy in front of him, and he said, I'd want to catch him in a corner like turn 4. That's where they're a little bit tighter than they think he is. He said no top 5s in his last 6 races. He told me we just need to finish a race. That's what we need to get to. Tagliani behind him, Alex Tagliani having a terrific run. They're one of the teams that did not test here. He told me that's put us behind all weekend. I would be very happy if we got out of here with a top 5 right now in 5th, Kevin.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay is not too far behind him. He's getting close to within range of challenging for that position. Ryan says he has been enjoying the championship hoopla, just wishes he would have had a chance to compete with an engine lasting all the way at Mid-Ohio. He has won a championship before, not at a high level, but he won the 99 Skip Barber Formula Dodge Championship, what helped continue his career with a scholarship, Marty.
Kevin, somewhere back there is Scott Dixon. He's in the 7th position, gaining some ground on all these guys. Done a very nice job after that spin on lap 1. Remember, he pitted on lap 14, a little bit earlier than everybody else. So they've told him save a little bit of fuel early in this run. But they've also told him all the guys in front of you have on the black primary tire. So you should be able to catch those guys in front of you.
Marty, Rubens Barrichello is next in line. He's having one of his better runs of the season. He has been told you're going quicker, just at a 29.0. The leaders are at 21, mid-21 lap times. He's having a great run, pushing to the front. Behind him is Tony Kanaan, his teammate, his brother from another mother. We're still looking for Barrichello there. But Kanaan is back behind him. Kanaan's also having a decent run, but been complaining. He thinks he's got a front wing issue. They put the front wing out, then he says, no, I'm fine. Then they put the wing back out. Really back and forth with his team as to whether or not he has had contact up there.
And way back there, Simon Pagenaud in the 9th position. They changed the wing on the last stop for Simon Pagenaud. And we saw the battle a moment ago as he was trying to get past all those guys. He's finally cleared those guys, but he said, it's so hard here to use push to pass because you can't time it out correctly. He said, just impossible to get it done, but he finally got that pass made in the 9th position. Townsend.
Sorry, guys, back to Tony Kanaan again. Like I said, he's had that front wing issue, but he really needs to have a good run this race. He's signed for next year with KV. I'm hearing rumors, but a little bit of uncertainty about the team for next year in terms of whether or not Tony is going to be really happy with the current setup. Going back to Graham Rahal, here's another guy looking for a strong run, super frustrated with his season so far. I talked to him, I said, Graham, with all your social media, your Twitter, your foundation, your app for sale, I said, is that distracting? He said, no, not at all. It doesn't take much time. He says his focus is totally on performance. Kevin?
On his last stop, Marco Andretti, who was in the middle of that good 3-car battle there, we see him in the RC Cola colors, added a little bit of front wing. He did a lot of promotional work between Mid-Ohio and here. He was here, also back in Baltimore for next weekend's race. While he was here on Thursday night, he had the chance to throw out the first pitch for the Giants game. He said he skipped the first one off home plate, asked for a redo, got that. He said that was a strike. Somebody would have swung at that one.
Kevin E.J. Vizo, another KV Racing driver, looking for more reliability from his team. Man, he was frustrated with some mechanical issues in practice. He is really thinking about next year again, needs a result to keep his sponsors happy. He is shopping the paddock. Back from him, we've got Mike Conway in the A.J. Foyt car. We talked about the Allmendinger conversations going on earlier. Mike Conway is all about road courses. This is the first IndyCar road course that he drove was Sonoma. This was the first time he was ever in an IndyCar, so he's looking for a stronger run today. We move on back to James Hinchcliffe. Again, had the wing damage earlier in the race. They pitted him early, got the front wing changed. His lap times have started to stabilize, still not as quick as he needs to be. There he comes into the picture. But the Andretti team has been struggling, but he's been working hard to get the balance back for these guys.
Behind James Hinchcliffe, we find Oriol Servia running in 16th position. He's one of those drivers that seems to face an uncertain offseason every year, but he said he feels more optimistic this time around. Dennis Reinbold said he expects the same program for next year, one car, partnering with Panther, and he wants to have Oriol Servia back. He says he is the priority, and Oriol sounds very happy here, so expect that to happen.
Kevin, Charlie Kimball next in line. This is a guy obviously with the broken hand. I asked him right before the race, I said, are you in pain? He said, not as much as when I watch somebody else drive my car. I said, are you taking Advil or anything? He said, no, Advil stunts bone growth. My bones are still growing back together from the incident. So in a little bit of pain, I'm sure, frustrated by the incidents he's had this weekend, but I got to say, hugely tough drive for him. He's doing a great job. On back from Kimball, we see Sebastian Saavedra, again, first road course race with this new Dallara. Unbelievable that he split his teammates, Marco Andretti and James Hinchcliffe, in qualifying. He qualified within the same 10th of a second. Gary Peterson, his team owner, really committed to promoting this young talent and helping him on through to next year.
Well, Elio did not have the race he wanted at Mid-Ohio. He had the 10-spot penalty because of an engine change and never was really able to get in the mix as we go on board with Elio. Well, today he has the contact and then the drive-through early on in the race. He has worked his way back up to 19th. He was as low as 26, but still a long way to go. Castroneves is one of several that desperately needs a caution. Right behind him is Justin Wilson, who qualified better than he started. He also had a 10-spot penalty because of an engine change, and he lost the engine in the test here at Sonoma last week. He said he's pretty happy with the car, and despite the starting position, thinks they can get a top 10 result, but they're going to need some off strategy with a caution, Townsend.
Yeah, Kevin, right behind Justin Wilson, his teammate James Jakes, hugely frustrated like a lot of guys with the balance. He couldn't figure out why he was so much slower. He was fighting for lack of grip, but all of a sudden, I got to say, he's behind one of the best road courses in the business. He's not giving anything up to Wilson, so clearly they've figured something out.
This has been a rough weekend for Josef Newgarden. He is right now running in 22nd position. He said this is the toughest weekend that they've had so far. They've tried everything. They've thrown everything at it, and it really has not gotten any better. And that's been rare. Even though the results haven't shown best finish of 11th, this team has generally had good pace throughout this season. So see if Josef can just get something out of it. He said they were just trying to salvage the weekend. Then you have J.R. Hildebrand all the way back in the 23rd position. As we watch James Hinchcliffe go around, he's going to keep it going, so we are not yet, I don't think, going to go cautioned. So Hinchcliffe will get back in it. A note on Hildebrand, though. He was running in 14th. He was the last to pit the first time around.
as we take a look here. This is Hildebrand coming out of his last pit stop. He had to come in about 5 laps after he pitted last time, as he has a close call there with Catherine Legg. They did not get all the fuel in the first time around, so that's why they had to make the extra pit. Here's Will Power's view.
Whoa. Will's like, easy there, folks.
Great through the field there.
The pace here.
The only ones we didn't talk about are Catherine Legg, who is 24th, Ed Carpenter, 25th, Simona De Silvestro, 26th, and Takuma Sato, who is out of the race. And the Hinchcliffe is very, very slow here out of turn 6 down to turn number 7. Spun back in turn number 11 this lap. Let's take a look at what happened.
Going to get a little help there.
Yes. Got an assist from Oriol Serbia.
And then here comes the burnout.
And he continues to not be at full song. But Will Power does. His lead, however, over Ryan Briscoe is still at 5.5 seconds. Sebastian Bourdais third, Franchitti fourth, Ryan Hunter-Reay running fifth. Bob Jenkins, Jan Beekes, Wally Dallenbach, Townsend Bell, Kevin Lee, Marty Snyder, and Robin Miller back at Sonoma Raceway in California for the GoPro Indy Grand Prix. Just 3 races remaining in the 2012 IZOD IndyCar season. Will Power with a 6.2 second advantage on Ryan Briscoe. Again, 2 of the championship contenders had a problem on lap number 1. Scott Dixon spun with a little bit of help from Elio Castroneves. Castroneves was given a drive-through penalty. Now, Scott Dixon just pitted moments ago. He gave up his 7th position, but he only lost 3 spots, so he is in 10th.
There we go.
EJ Viso.
Viso going to the inside of Andretti. Viso picking up 12th position. Or is he? No.
Ooh. Tight quarters.
Yeah, Viso does get the spot.
Here comes Conway.
Yeah.
As soon as someone loses the momentum,
that's easy for you to say.
Wow. I hit the rev limiter there, I think. When you do lose the momentum, it's time to pounce.
Hinchcliffe out of the race, Townsend.
Yeah, Bob, standing down here with James. James, I wish we didn't have to talk under these circumstances. You had a little contact there at the start, but then settled in. What happened in your day?
Yeah, I mean, on the first lap there, something happened down in 7, and Pagenaud got held up, ran in the back of him, and we broke our front wing. So on that first stop, we had to come in and lost a bit of time changing it. Went back out on a sticker set of reds and a new wing, and the car was like considerably worse. You know you've missed a setup when a car with a broken wing and old tires is better than a car with a fixed wing and new tires. So it's the end to it's just been the worst weekend for us. We've been lost since first practice, and it's unfortunate. The GoDaddy boys have been working really hard, but we just missed it today, and then got hit by Oriol, and I think it knocked off an oil line or something. We started losing oil pressure, so day done.
Not the day for James Hinchcliffe that he wanted to have. Back to you, Bob.
Hinchcliffe was in 5th position coming into this race in the point standings, but right now he has dropped down to 7th as we take a look at Serbia, Saavedra, and Kimball as they race for 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Saavedra continues to impress, man. I mean, he just jumped in this car this weekend, and like you said earlier, Jan, he was good. He was fast. He obviously had that 10-spot penalty. He's fighting his way back up. What do you got down there, Marty?
Well, Simon Pagenaud running in the top 10. Wally, he actually requested sticker primary tires. He said the red tires just did not feel right on the car. Remember, they started the race on the primary tires. He felt like the car was better at the beginning of the race. Heads back out on the track. No complaints chassis-wise since they put on that new wing.
Well, we heard Hinchcliffe kind of say the same thing. I mean, maybe the track has changed a little bit.
And I have a feeling one of the happiest drivers around when he makes his pit stop is going to be Sebastian Bourdais when he gets off those blocks.
Some Oriole Serbia in, and he will get a new nose on that car. Not going to match the rest of the paint scheme, but who cares?
And the left rear took a while. If you can change the front wing and you don't get the left rear to beat that, that's
speed at pit in. Drive-through penalty. Car 17.
Saavedra.
Wow. Ouch. All that work.
Yep.
Well, again, when you're a partial season entrant, you know that you don't have as much experience as far as running through on the pit speed limiter to be sure everything's finely tuned. And here's a side-by-side.
I'm sure he knew he was there that whole time.
Tagliani around Serbia.
Tagliani likes to press the issue there in 5 and 6, doesn't he? That's been his place today. And Wilson coming back after Bourdais. That's just what I was saying. Sebastian Bourdais does not look at all happy on those blacks, yet his car was great on the reds. He can't wait for the next pit stop.
Should be soon, shouldn't it?
Yep.
All right, Will Power now is on pit lane for his second stop of the race on lap number 40, Marty.
Yeah, when Tim Cindric and I talked earlier this morning, he said it's really going to be more based on where the gap is, where we think we can come out without traffic in our way. They're going to go with scuffed black tires as well. Actually, sticker black tires for Will Power. No changes to the chassis. Obviously, the car extremely fast. He leaves pit road, Kevin.
Watching for Sebastian Bourdais to come in. He's been running in the third position. There he's made the turn on this curved pit road, 60 miles an hour, the little left-hander, and Sebastian Bourdais is in, coming off a fourth-place finish at Mid-Ohio. He said that helped jump the team a little bit, but they've maintained their confidence because they've had pretty good pace since they got the Chevy engine. This is a quick stop. It's scuffed reds this stint for Sebastian Bourdais.
Watch your pit speed. Let's hustle here.
And also, here is Rubens Barrichello.
Push. I got Marco coming out of the last turn now.
He's coming out of the pits.
All clear.
And Tony Kanaan is in.
Yeah, Bob, Tony Kanaan putting on sticker black tires. No front wing change except for adding downforce to the setting. He's a little bit understeer in the high speeds.
Well, he may not have called for a wing, but he got it anyway, Townsend.
I guess I meant to say he wasn't replacing the front wing like there's a lot of debate on. So they were adding, they're definitely adding front downforce, but a lot of indecision on front wing change.
The green car is Josef Newgarden. Again, new sponsorship on that car, Angie's List. And he rolls back out.
See Dario set up.
Briscoe has picked up the lead again with Will Power having made his second stop. Here is Dario giving up second spot.
All right, we got an open box. Come around Tagliani's guys. They're set up. Stop at the sign. 5, 4, 3.
And he hits pit road running second, as you mentioned, Bob, but ran fourth for much of that run. It'll be 3 scuffed red tires, a little problem on the left rear, and a sticker tire on the right rear for the Reds, for Dario Franchitti. So the car very, very loose on that last run.
Watch for Bourdais at the pit exit.
Coming outside.
And his teammate gets inside him, Dixon.
So Bourdais is 5th, Dixon 6th, Franchitti 7th. And Marco Andretti hits pit lane.
Side of his first win in IndyCar as a teenager, Marco Andretti, having the weekend he would want. And look at all the changes on that front wing.
Well, he's got a sore wrist.
About 3 cranks on that one, and they're going to hold on, and they've got an issue.
Fueling
I'm
problem.
not sure that you think they got it all in.
I'm not sure. They were really hesitant with the fuel problem. Here comes Dixon after Bourdais.
They're acting like they never got any fuel in there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Oh, Bourdais all over the place.
Oh, wow.
Briscoe, meanwhile, is in, gives up the lead. Ryan Hunter-Reay will pick it up once again. We're watching the battle for 5th between Bourdais and Dixon.
I thought that Sebastian Bourdais' car was going to come to life on the Reds, but he's still struggling.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay now is finished with his second pit stop and moves back out there. And we are at the halfway point of the race.
Oh, and he's going to come out right in that battle we were just watching, and Hunter-Reay's on blacks. And he's right up in front of these two. Now, he's on toast tires. Look out. He's on the outside. Is Bourdais.
It's going to cost Dixon here though, a little bit.
My.
Yeah, I thought it was going to cost. It's hard to get through there side by side. So that. Ooh, boy, Hunter-Reay's fighting back too.
He's still.
Sebastian's like.
Well, those are championship contenders right there. You're going to fight for everything you're worth coming out of the pits. And again, we talked about it. Cold tires. That's when you earn your money.
There we go. He's going to have to do it on the outside, the long way around. They're both on the push to pass.
All right, let's see who can.
Still there?
It'd be hard to make an outside pass right there.
And he locked up his brakes. That's not going to help your front tires. All right, way to go, Hunter-Reay. Cold blacks, and he holds off Scott Dixon on hot reds. That's nicely done.
Let's see what happens when they get down here. Wow. Oh, damage on the wing. He's got damage on the wing. He does it.
Will he be able to stop? No!
He can't.
Still right there. Dario right there.
Wow.
Still right there.
That's a lot of damage, too. He's most likely, can't even turn it.
That's going to have to get replaced. Did he hit? Obviously, he hit Hunter-Reay, right? I mean, where did he get that damage from? Okay, here's a great shot. I think he just misjudged.
Oh, it's the same thing that Dario did. We saw him. It's just misjudging that corner, that front wing. You saw Dario.
I'm just looking to see if there's any damage on Hunter-Reay.
Looks pretty solid.
Yeah, looks pretty good.
And guys, I've already asked Scott Dixon, is it wing damage? And if so, how badly is it damaged? They have a new wing here in the pit ready to go. Yeah. They've asked him, do you need to pit? And he's not replied yet.
Hey, Marty, yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Tell them yes.
I'll go tell Mike Cole for you, Wally. Yes, you need to pit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Marco Andretti also had to come to pit lane to get a new nose. Here he is.
Let's watch.
Yeah, I figured those guys were.
And the reason he needs a front wing is because of contact a little while ago with Graham Rahal, I am told. And we mentioned that the last stop, they didn't get any fuel. They had to come in and fuel it this time. So now Marco is way back in the chase.
I'm telling you, with these races running caution free, if you have one mistake, you're done. Unless you get a caution.
So Will Power, after all is said and done in terms of second round of pit stops, has an 8.5 second advantage on Ryan Briscoe. Sebastian Bourdais way back in third position, about 22.5 seconds behind Power. Then Hunter-Reay and Franchitti here at Sonoma. GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma at Sonoma Raceway is 47 laps into the 85-lap event. On board with the leader, Will Power, with an 8.3 second advantage on Briscoe. And look,
these guys are going at it.
Saavedra and Serbia. Wow, that's for 20th spot. Saavedra just took the position.
Tell you what, Saavedra, but that was an aggressive move right there.
Yeah.
Like I said, you couldn't run there side by side earlier. Obviously, I was wrong.
Now, Saavedra came here for the test, but wasn't allowed to run very many laps, correct?
Yes, by rule. We'll watch this from overhead. So these guys were side by side all the way up the hill. That's one, and now Saavedra has the best line. So he's going to be looking good, but now Serbia has the best line because we're going to have a left-hand corner. So now Serbia's got the advantage, but I can do it over the top of the hill. Woohoo! That was nice.
Good stuff.
So to answer your question, yes, he could come to test, but because they were a partial season entrant, they could only use 2 sets of tires and do 100 miles. So he learned something, but not near what some of the other teams could do.
Ryan Hunter-Reay and Dario Franchitti are running 4th and 5th.
And by the way, they do that because the idea is they don't want teams bringing in substitute drivers and getting extra testing. But unfortunately, he got burned by that.
We have now run 209 consecutive green flag laps. The final lap at Toronto, every lap at Edmonton, every lap at Mid-Ohio, and every lap today so far. Call ** Indy for live in-car cameras, driver pit crew chatter, and more. Download IndyCar Mobile only from Verizon. Kevin?
Marco Andretti's had to come in because, and then we see him climbing out of the car, an engine problem. So it's gone from bad to worse to done. He said the oil temps were all over the place, so they thought they had an engine problem, came in, took a look at it. Marco Andretti's day is done.
And Kevin, you talk about engine, talk about oil temperature. Of course, we heard something similar for James Hinchcliffe. Remember, those are Chevrolets. And our two lead cars, three actually, top four, are all Chevrolets. It does make you wonder. We certainly saw contact for Hinchcliffe, but not the case for Andretti.
Oh, there's the... Oh! I think that's probably the rest of
is that Robin
Dixon's
Miller?
wing.
I don't know. Maybe that's Robin Miller throwing stuff out there.
Missing a shoe.
You mean your other shoe?
Hey guys, of course, one of those teams saying there's debris on the track, Scott Dixon team, and they keep saying, yeah, right. You don't see debris, you just want to come in and fix your wing.
Here is the battle for pit in and pit out. Of course, the winner of the pit in is here, and the winner of pit out is Bourdais. So Power, awesome on the way in. Bourdais, great on cold tires.
Hunter-Reay coming off a 24th place finish at Mid-Ohio. That has dropped him out of the title lead, but still in second position in the point standings by 6 going into this event.
And, you know, Ryan has really had to work to hang on to that again, being on the blacks, pushing, and we heard in the pre-race, not a racetrack that he or the team is necessarily comfortable, but man, he's applying himself.
Let's talk to Marco Andretti.
All kinds of issues. First you had to change the front wing, then it ultimately put you out of the race.
The engine, we lost the engine. You know, I was staying out just to make, you know, to try to blow it up during the race here so I didn't get the penalty in Baltimore. But, you know, I told him it's going to be a risk to the other people on the track, so we should just retire. You know, but I said if I retire, we better make sure we don't have the penalty in Baltimore. You know, because it's apparent that it's blowing up.
That, as I understand it, is the rule. You pull off with an issue, then you're not going to be facing a penalty. How was the racing today with the changes? Did you notice a difference from last year at the track?
Nah, not really.
Okay, Marco Andretti.
Well, we've seen a great deal of passing for position. Yeah. Nothing up front, that's for sure. But some good battles on track, such as this one between Ryan Hunter-Reay and Franchitti for 4th.
I don't know. Should we keep saying that? Just looks really dangerous coming off that corner. Better get that debris. I don't know. What do you think, Wally?
I agree.
Have there ever been 3 races that run caution-free? The answer is yes, but it's more than a quarter of a century ago, back in '86, that Portland, the Meadowlands, and Cleveland, 3 races run consecutively without a caution.
If we keep throwing out the stats, surely we're going to get a caution.
So Will Power continues to lead here at Sonoma by 8.3 seconds over Ryan Briscoe. Stay with us for more here on the NBC Sports Network. Beautiful day here in the Sonoma Valley as we welcome you back to the GoPro Indy Grand Prix, which is 53 laps into 85. Every week, the NBC Sports Network takes you behind the scenes of the biggest matchups in Major League Baseball. This week, go inside Cardinals-Reds on Caught Looking Thursday at 9 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. Not much has changed. J.R. Hildebrand did make a pit stop while we were away. He is in 20th position, a lap down. There are 17 cars currently on the lead lap. And there is the leader, Will Power.
I think that's Briscoe.
Briscoe there, yeah. Risco in second spot.
On board with Charlie Kimball.
Conway locks and has the shortcut, so he'll have to let Kimball go by.
Castroneves. Now Justin Wilson would like to get by.
Wilson takes that really tight inside line, kind of non-traditional, but
when you can, fuel map 5.
Kimball getting by Simona de Silvestro.
Boy, Elio has just not been in the game today, has he?
And guys, up in the front of the field, Will Power starting to catch some more lap traffic, and he's having trouble getting through that lap traffic. In fact, a few moments ago, he lost 0.8 of a second to a teammate, Ryan Briscoe, on one lap. He asked Tim Cindric to help him out with some of the lap traffic, but here's the problem, Jan. Earlier in the race, they pitted when they hit that lap traffic. Right now, they can't pit. That's way too early. You got to go about, what, 4 more laps, 5 more laps to make it comfortably to the end of the race, right?
Yes, and I think you'd want to go, Marty, a little bit more than that. You could stop on lap 58, but then you'd be in fuel save to get to the end. So the longer that you can go, it gives you a little more of a window for fuel. So he definitely does not want to pit now because he'd be in again. That'll happen to J.R. Hildebrand. We mentioned that he stopped. He'll have another one in his future.
.30 laps to go for Will Power as we continue to watch Conway and Wilson for 14th. Biggest movers so far in the race have been Charlie Kimball, who's gained 9 spots since the drop of the green flag, and Sebastian Saavedra has gained 6 positions. Wilson and Kanaan both up 5. And here is Saavedra battling with the leader of the race.
Well then.
And Will Power's problem was with actually Josef Newgarden behind him. He held him so long that when he finally got by him, everybody else had kind of caught them as well.
Well, good for Saavedra. I mean, hey, so what? It's Will Power.
Well,
I'm faster than you.
Well, he's back on the lead lap right now.
Yeah.
I mean, so that was an important move. Yeah.
And EJ Viso is the next to go a lap down if that should happen.
If I was doing my first road course race, I'm not sure that I'd throw one in the inside of Will Power, but good for Saavedra. He pulled it off nicely, didn't cause any issue, and hey, if you can get on the lead lap safely, go for it.
They'll go up the hill.
Use the overtake if you need to.
That's Timson. Oh, that was nice of Iso.
Yeah.
That was very courteous. He just backed off a little bit ahead and let Will go by. Kello versus Dixon, and wow.
Well, I mean, Dixon's got all that wing damage.
Yeah,
so.
with the front wing, you just can't. And remember that
it hurts you under braking a lot.
Can't brake nearly as late with that damaged front wing, but boy, that made it look easy for Barrichello.
Moving up to 7th.
And guys, what Dixon and his team have kind of gone through, they debated on whether or not to pit when they got the front wing damage. Wally, you and I were talking about that when the wing damage happened. So they kind of did the math. They said, well, wait, if we stay out as long as we can and try and get into our pit window, we may fall back to 10th. But that's worth it if we just fall back to 10th rather than going down a lap by pitting on pit road, or at least falling all that track position. So that's a theory. They're trying to limp it around as best they can with that wing damage.
Yeah, Marty, we've documented you lose 21 seconds without fuel. So they're hoping that they can lose less than 21 seconds by staying out. That's probably a reasonable gamble.
Yeah. All right, we'll take another break and be right back with more of the GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma. Back at Sonoma, where Will Power continues to lead. You saw a non-stop. Scott Dixon did make the pit stop to get a new nose on that car. And for a couple of title contenders, it's been a long day from the very beginning.
And of course, right from turn number 7, from the get-go, you see contact between Castroneves, which of course turns around Scott Dixon. There was a penalty in the future, and Scott Dixon manages to start pushing forward. He keeps the car running, but for Castroneves, the opposite. He drops back, just keeps dropping back, doesn't seem to be able to recover after that incident. And in fact, Scott Dixon, so much on the charge, he was too close, misjudged it, and had wing damage hitting the back of Ryan Hunter-Reay. So he loses the spot. Then he has to limp around and try to get into the pit window. Now, we just saw that he had this pit stop, and he catches an air hose right there. So he will be receiving a penalty after all that waiting, struggling around with a broken front wing. Now you add a penalty to Scott Dixon. Man, that day just not going well.
Oh, yeah.
Just okay, understatement. Stating the obvious.
7.6 seconds, the interval from first to second here, with 26 laps to go. What a flawless drive so far for Will Power, Robin.
Hello, boys. You see this man right here? We're going out to the bar tonight and tell girls we were at the Olympics. This is Tyler Clary, the 200-meter breaststroke Olympic gold medalist from the United States of America, Riverside, California. And he's hit his head because he wants to be a race car driver.
Well, first off, it's a 200 backstroke. Yeah, breaststroke's my worst stroke. But anyway, no, it's amazing to be here. I mean, sitting in the Sarah Fisher Hartman racing box, watching my favorite driver right now, Josef Newgarden, learning all I can. I mean, I've just in the last hour, I've learned more about the ins and outs of the sport and what happens as far as the team goes and all the stuff that happens during a pit. It's just been amazing. I will never forget this.
Okay, you're a pretty smart kid. You're going to get this insured after the race, your gold medal. But you're also going to use right now you got a lot of momentum. Talk to some people about coming to start racing. Maybe Barbara Dodge next year or Mazda, or have you thought that far ahead?
Right now, I'm talking to as many people as possible and really kind of seeing what kind of interest there is out there. And thankfully, it seems like there's a whole lot of people interested in having another American get involved in this series. So I definitely would be willing to take a shot at filling those shoes at some point. And you know, I'm at this point, like I said, I'm just learning as much as I can and trying to take the next correct step.
Is it fun for the first time in a while to have a few days off?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I haven't had more than 2 or 3 weeks off a year in about 6 years. So to finally have a little bit of time to kind of get out and do what some normal people do for a consistent period of time, it's pretty awesome. But the last probably 2 or 3 weeks has been absolutely hectic and insane with all sorts of different things that I've been trying to get together and move through. And it's, like I said, it's been pretty chaotic, but again, very, very good problem to have.
Well, you'll like being a race driver, kid, if you make it, because Dario Franchitti comes in. We appreciate your time, because race drivers don't work very hard, and they chase women, Marty.
Well, the strategy here for Dario Franchitti, pit as early as we can and get out as early as we can. It'll be sticker reds for this car. They've been actually pretty good chassis-wise for Dario Franchitti. We'll see whether this cycles him out and if this can gain any time against Will Power. The reds on. Dario Franchitti heads out on pit road. 61 laps in the book here at Sonoma as we continue. Will Power still in the lead. A round of pit stops still to come here from Sonoma.
Good battle going on here at Sonoma as Ryan Hunter-Reay running 5th and Dario Franchitti 6th. Both of them just have made their pit stops. Sebastian Bourdais, meanwhile, is in for 3rd.
And he's looking for his best finish of the season. 4th at Mid-Ohio, 3rd here today. Final stop for Sebastian Bourdais. A little bit slow getting away. Not too bad, though. He's going to lose a couple of spots as far as track position. They're going to get by those cars again.
Yeah, but it's the traffic. Like you said, Kevin, just that little bit of a hiccup. Now he's stuck in this traffic, and you cannot put it into first gear. You remember we spent a little bit of time with that at Mid-Ohio. Until the probe goes out, you can't select first. Townsend?
John down here with Ruben's smooth pit stop. He puts on used reds. He's off and away. His first start here. He's doing a great job. Tony Kanaan also coming in just behind him. He's going to sticker reds, exactly the way you'd want to finish a race if you can. Brand new tires. He's going to have good grip, but it'll be a little slick on that outlap.
Oh, he stalled it.
Oh,
he's got a problem.
Something happened.
They're rocking back and forth. Hands go up on TK. They're not sure what's going on. The starter's out.
Emergency mode.
Meanwhile, here comes Power, Marty.
Yes, we watch Will Power coming down pit road as Barrichello tries to diagnose what's wrong with his car. Tim Cindric reminded him, watch your speed coming down pit road. He hits pit road with about a 7.5 second gap. It's sticker red. Oh, on the right rear and a crash on the track. This could pay a big dividend for Will Power as he leaves pit road.
Well, Will Power has been bit by caution flags, and now this time, this actually worked for Will Power. He was on pit road, just like you said, Marty, and he finally catches a break. He's been burned by this in the past, and they pit early, and he saved himself.
Sebastian Bourdais and Josef Newgarden involved in a crash, and finally a caution flag comes out. And Newgarden has a very badly damaged race car.
And you were talking about that, Jan. They got stuck behind those guys. Not sure what happened, but it's very frustrating when you lose that track position like that, and you have to start all over with some cars.
21 laps to go in this race that had run caution-free until now.
Between 8.
Newgarden still in the cockpit. He has loosened the steering wheel.
They're leaving the pits open, so this will not be as big of a penalty for those who can dive on the pit road. So it's not going to hurt Briscoe too badly, but it was definitely a benefit for Power.
Marty.
And his teammate comes onto pit road, taking advantage of that open pit road. It's going to be scuffed red for Ryan Briscoe, and we'll see what happens here and where he will cycle out with everyone else. Once we do get going back to green, they've been very happy with the chassis all day long, but still trying to catch his teammate Will Power.
Scott Dixon also making a pit stop.
Well, hang on a minute, because Will Power got held up, and I think Briscoe got out ahead of Will Power. We saw Briscoe leave pit road, and then we saw Power stuck in a group of traffic.
Okay.
And Will Power was on the radio saying, I can't go anywhere. Tim Cindric.
Turn 4, now turn 5.
Tim Cindric kept saying to him, go as hard as you can. You've got to get back to the pit road or back to the blend line to see if we can beat Briscoe. Yep. And obviously Briscoe wins the race off pit road.
Good call, Jans. Yeah, Ryan Briscoe is the leader of the race.
Car 2, slow down and get behind the pace car.
I thought that Will Power caught a break, but unfortunately he got stuck in people who started to back off, and he couldn't keep his pace up. Now this will be interesting.
This is going to put a whole new spin on things.
That's what he said this morning. My number one concern is pit strategy. Now, they had the pit strategy right, but he just got burned by some slow traffic.
Here's a replay of what happened. Bourdais and Newgarden.
Okay, side by side, trying to do the pass, repass. Okay, they're clean there. Oh, my. Oh. Ouch.
Big hit.
Wow. Sebastian Bourdais it drifted wide.
Cold tires.
And an innocent victim, Josef Newgarden. They were racing each other clean all the way, but then Bourdais couldn't make it, wouldn't turn. Here he gives him room. No contact. It's just that Bourdais here, right there, it won't turn. And it just, now he's got dirt on the tires, and there's not a thing that Josef Newgarden can do. Wow. Well, thankfully, they had nice row of tires there.
Yeah, the corner before, Bourdais went way, way wide up on that little island, which he could have picked up a lot of debris on his tires from that.
That's a reaction from car owner Jay Penske after seeing Bourdais in the crash.
Oh, you got to feel bad for Josef Newgarden. That was, whew, that was a heavy hit.
It was a big hit, and then got hit by Bourdais as the car came off the wall.
So as you say, Wally, cold tires, and then you have to swing wide. You may get something on the tires, and it's like driving on ice.
So we'll need a bit of a there after that hit by Josef Newgarden. But we do have a new leader in this race. Ryan Briscoe now leads over his Penske teammate Will Power.
The GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma on the NBC Sports Network is brought to you by
Honda, an official vehicle of the IZOD INDYCAR Series. And by IZOD. Go to IZOD.com to see the latest in IZOD color and performance. We have a whole new race here because Ryan Briscoe is ahead of Will Power. It came during a caution, and we're going to take a look at it as Jan will lead you through it. Meanwhile, there's a lot of cleanup to be done at the crash site, which involved Josef Newgarden up there at the top of your screen and Sebastian Bourdais, whose car is just being hoisted now off of the racetrack. And we will take a look first at the replay of the crash.
Well, watch here, these guys. You see that Bourdais just could not turn the car, and I think it was because he went wide on the corner before, got some debris on his tires, which were cold. Newgarden obviously had no place to go. He definitely got the worst of that crash.
He got out of the car under his own power, appears to be, needless to say, shaken up, but otherwise apparently uninjured. Wow, this is going to be a very interesting restart coming up here.
Bobby, he walked into the hospital under
Did he?
power
Okay,
too,
good.
so that's a good sign. We're back here. We'll talk to him in a minute.
That was as big a hit as we've seen in a while. All right, now we'll go back and show you what happened here during this whole sequence.
The first thing was during the pit stop itself, watch the rear tire here, especially in this section right in through here. You're going to see that, no, I don't have it, and then it drops. Now you get it tightened. Do I have it? Yes. So there's a miscue somewhat, but that wasn't really the issue. Certainly that slowed down Will Power's pit stop. They would have liked to have this very, very clean. There was a little bit, maybe what, 2, 3, 4 second delay, but the real issue for him was the cars that he got stuck behind afterwards. So Ryan Briscoe, when he leaves, you look in the background and you have cars that have slowed behind the caution, and here, of course, is where Will Power is stuck behind those cars and does not have the opportunity to keep the speed and go for Briscoe. Now here's where he caught them. Of course, he did have a little bit of that miscue on pit road, but this is what really cost him. Now the full course caution is out. While Ryan Briscoe is running flat out and making his way to pit road, he has to back off and follow all these cars that are slowing, as they should, for a full course caution.
Do your best.
All right, Marty is with Tim Cindric.
Let's check in with him. So after all that, was it more the catching up that caught you guys off guard and caught you out of the lead?
Well, obviously, we controlled our own destiny there on the stop. We didn't have the best pit stop, but certainly the car is holding us up. I think we've still been able to get out front, even with our issue there. But, you know, that's the risk you take with lap cars and that type of thing. And, you know, the full course yellow, you know, leaving the pits open, I think it's good for the racing, but obviously it caught us out here.
Usually that's an advantage to be on pit road when the caution comes out at a road course, correct?
It depends if the pits are open or closed. If they're open, it's not.
Exactly right. And just to clarify things, he will be on the outside of his teammate Ryan Briscoe when they do start, so it will be the Penske cars 1-2 when they take the green.
Should be an interesting restart. We went, by the way, 226 consecutive green flag laps until the incident involving Newgarden and Sebastian Bourdais. There's Will Power.
Yeah, it's going to be, you're right, Bob, it is going to be an interesting restart. Because you know what? I know Power's thinking championship, but Ryan Briscoe's thinking future.
That's right.
You know, you've got a shot here to win this race. The last thing on my mind, if I'm Briscoe, is Will Power's championship.
Now, Marty was saying they're going to start side by side, and that must be because we're inside 20 laps to go, and they're planning on taking the lap cars out of there. We certainly know that Briscoe is 1, Power is 2, but there's a bunch of lap cars between. And so we were told at the last race that they'd pull all them through the pits if there were less than 20 laps to go, which there happened to be.
Yes, so, race control has told them, Jan, that once they get the track clean, pull them through pit road The lead lap cars will stay out. The ones that are one lap more down will go behind them.
Yeah, and that's a huge break for Will Power.
Under caution for the first time here in our race. Stay with us for more of the GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma. Just a gorgeous setting here, about 30 miles north of San Francisco, the beautiful Sonoma Valley and the GoPro Indy Grand Prix. Just 15 laps to go. We're still cleaning up the caution and the accident that involved Josef Newgarden and Sebastian Bourdais. The lead has gone to Ryan Briscoe, who finished second here in 2008 and 2009 and led 4 laps here last year. The dominant car has been all day Will Power, but Briscoe has the lead right now. Here is a replay of the incident. That's Bourdais in white.
And watch how far this wall moves. Just knocks those couple thousand pound concrete blocks back, which is a good thing. Thankfully, no debris getting back in the photographer's area. And of course, look at it real time.
Oh, yeah.
Golly.
Boy, that photographer is very lucky. He was standing about 10 feet
That reminds me
closer.
of the crash at the 24-hour with McNish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Almost the same type of wreck.
I got to jump in, guys, and just say thank you for the Hans device. I mean, we take it for granted these days, but that's exactly the kind of incident that, could have had dire consequences years ago. And, man, I'm glad he's all right. That's a big hit.
The following cars will drive through the pits next time by and go to the back. In this order, car 83, 17, 18, 11. Followed by 14, 22, 9, 5, 19, 20, and 78.
So there you go. Those are the cars that will go through the pits, leaving those on the lead lap to battle it out here. Let's go down to Kevin Lee.
Jay Penske, the car owner for Sebastian Bourdais. Such a good day ends so quickly. Any indication what happened with Sebastian?
I think Newgarden was a lap down, got on the inside. Seb got in some of the marbles and then lost it going through 8. And just so unfortunate. This true car dragon racing effort really showed, I think, this entire weekend what we're capable of. And it's a shame that it ended so quickly. And looked like we had a second or third coming. But this is a tough way to end the day.
You heard from him. He's okay, though.
He's doing fine. He's just on his way back to the pits.
Okay, that's Jay Penske.
Yeah, it was a very solid performance by Sebastian Bourdais all weekend until that happened. We're on board here with Elio Castroneves, who is up to 9th.
Yeah, I mean, he was at one time
back in the
70
20s.
seconds back.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, okay, well, he's done. And there he is, sitting in the 9th spot. Now, there's a lot of cars a lap down right now. I mean, from 11th back. That caution obviously caught a lot of guys, but
Get up as soon as these guys are out of your way. Get up.
Hunter-Reay's in a good spot. Really drove hard today. Done a good job.
This is the guy who was on the last car on the lead lap, J.R. Hildebrand, in 10th position.
Good indicator of why you always want to fight to stay on the lead lap.
We're seeing those cars who you heard must do the drive-through to get back in starting spot doing so. Here they are exiting the pits.
I love this rule because it lets the guys that are going for the win race each other instead of having a bunch of lap cars that are in the middle that most likely aren't going to make up their lap. So I'm glad that they started doing this.
Kevin.
Michael Andretti, Ryan is now running third. He's got the 2 Penskes right in front of him in this double file restart. How do you think he's going to approach this? How aggressive will he be?
We got to be aggressive. He's going to be going for it for sure, but we got to also worry about Dario and Tag behind us. But, yeah, he's going to go for it.
He entered the weekend, at least the first couple of practices, not fully comfortable with the car. Better right now? Is he pretty comfortable?
Yeah, I think he's getting better for sure, especially with the reds. He likes the reds. He wasn't real happy on the blacks, but we got a brand new set of reds on there, so hopefully that'll help.
All right, and they're good on fuel, by the way. That's Michael Andretti with Ryan Hunter-Reay. Marty?
With Roger Penske, does Ryan have the car to beat Will straight up?
I didn't hear you.
Does Ryan have the car to beat Will Power straight up, you think?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Ryan's run a real good race. We had great stops here. And to me, it's a team effort here. So Will's working for the championship, and we'd like to have a good finish. But got some great cars behind us with Hunter-Reay and certainly Franchitti. These guys know how to win. So it's going to be right down to the end with about 11 to go.
Any thought of asking Ryan to maybe back off a little bit and let Will go since he's running for the championship?
Well, those guys will work it out together, I'm sure. I'm not making any calls from here, that's for sure.
All right, no team orders. There it is from the captain himself. It's going to be an interesting restart. Closing in on the finish here from Sonoma.
The cars come through corner number 9, and they will be getting into a 2 abreast formation for the restart. This should be good.
I mean, this is going to have to be the best restart I've ever done in IndyCar my whole career.
Briscoe, Power, Hunter-Reay, Franchitti, Tagliani, the top 5. They come through corner number 11. Let's see what happens here. Nice formation. Briscoe on the inside. Here we go.
Oh, he didn't either.
He waited for a long time. This could put Will Power in peril because they've all climbed up behind Will.
Briscoe has the lead. Looks like the Castroneves had some contact back there.
So Briscoe's strategy, bring it up late, get on the Power late. Everyone was packed up.
Yep.
It worked for him.
It did.
Boy, Roger Penske said there would be no team orders, but he also said we work as a team and we're running for a championship. So he may not have to make a radio call, but Ryan Briscoe knows the guy behind him. He's got to be careful. Oh, look at Tagliani, goes to the inside.
Wow.
And he tags Hunter-Reay. He hits Hunter-Reay, and now he hits another car.
Another one of the title contenders.
And this car is not refiring. You heard Townsend Bell talk about how the Honda may have the anti-stall working. In this case, it did not work for the Chevrolet of Hunter-Reay.
Another full course caution, perhaps? Yes.
Gotta be.
So Power will have another shot at it.
Yeah.
Man, but that is a tough deal for Hunter-Reay.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure
with 13 points behind Power as they ran at the time, this is going to cost them a ton.
Here's what happened.
Oh, my.
Boy, Tagliani went in there way deep. No
This reminds me a little bit of Edmonton last year.
So Tag's going to get a penalty for that. I'm certain
for sure.
of.
But that's not going to help Ryan
Exactly,
Hunter-Reay.
that's a problem. Hunter-Reay comes out the big loser on this one.
I mean, he's
just driving along. Boom.
Oh, look, it's running there. It's running. Oh, and he stalls it. So Andy Stahl was fine. He got the clutch in. He got it into neutral. Is when he went to pull away.
Well, hang on, Jan. He got the clutch in to keep it from stalling. I just talked to a Chevy engineer down here on pit lane. He said they do not have anti-stall working. They're not happy with the parameters to enable it. So I think he stalled it dumping the clutch.
He did.
And there's a reaction from Michael Andretti. Still haven't got him going. Trying to keep him on the lead lap, but I don't know.
Really push. I don't think that's going to work.
And you're pushing uphill, too. Oh, man. You're so helpless sitting there now watching all these guys drive by. Just
everybody go right tight on the exit of turn 7. Safety's pushing the car, driver's left, go right.
Hunter-Reay has had problems. Castroneves has had problems. Dixon has had problems. Power a little bit, but he's still in second spot here.
So just like Townsend was saying, it was clear from the onboard that Ryan Hunter-Reay quickly grabbed the hand clutch, kept it running, everything was looking good, and then right when he dumped the clutch to spin it back around, it stalled on him.
And that's easy to do on hot tires. You got so much grip. Go dump that clutch and it just grips up and the motor doesn't have the torque to pull it through.
Townsend, I mentioned earlier, he was so frustrated last week. He's enjoying this championship, but didn't really have a chance to race for a win or even race for a good position because of the engine issue. It's been such a good season. This could be their 4th DNF. He's probably going to finish the race, but well out of the chase. His 3 DNFs, none his fault, all mechanical. So Hunter-Reay, he's not been the problem this year as far as what's happening. It hasn't even necessarily been team issues. Sometimes it's just things out of the team's control. So very frustrating that a championship-type season might be coming apart right here.
I'm almost thinking Power should just almost go to cruise mode at this point. All of the championship contenders that you're racing against basically have had trouble. Castroneves is sitting in 8th.
Good point.
But this is a good day to make up a lot of ground, or, you know, cushion your lead even more. Don't blow it in the last 10 laps.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Will Power, I'll watch what happened to Hunter-Reay just there, knowing that he's out of contention for the race today. I'm going to rim shot that turn 7 on the restart and just stay well out of trouble if I can.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just go on cruise mode here and just get some points, because you're going to come out of here really in good shape point-wise.
And to that end, Wally, Will Power just came on the radio much more relaxed and said, I probably could have gotten the lead there from Ryan Briscoe if I wanted to. He said, but Ryan's got to do what he's got to do. I understand that. We're going to take it easy for the rest of this race. So I wouldn't expect Will Power to push the agenda very much here, although you drivers, Wally, you always want to get that lead when you're up there, don't you?
Yeah, you do, but really he wants his championship so bad. He has seen it slip away in the last couple races before. And, you know, this is just to be cautious. Go ahead and come out here and get some points and go to Baltimore.
Scott Dixon made a pit stop moments ago during this caution period.
And just, you know, obviously getting on some higher grip tires, going with the reds.
Little problem there on the right rear again.
Saw in the background that got Ryan Hunter-Reay, but of course that wouldn't have been for position because Ryan Hunter-Reay lost that lap.
Let's pair up. Driver's map.
All right,
Briscoe,
here we go.
do it again.
Okay,
Yes,
now I
I'm
think,
sure he can.
Hey, if I'm Briscoe, last time I was late. This time I'd go early.
Yeah?
Yeah, oh yeah. I would do the same thing.
And I don't think Power's going to. I'd be surprised if he really presses the issue here right now.
Let's see.
He doesn't want any kind of penalty for jumping the starter. You see, there he goes. Goes a bit earlier this time.
Green, green, green.
Tagliani will get penalized for the avoidable contact.
Wow, Graham Rahal shoots up the inside now to the outside.
No. Oh, a little contact there.
Rahal just leaning on it.
Rahal in 5th spot.
That's Rahal and Tagliani, which Tagliani is coming in anyway, so.
It's Tony Cadan down on the inside as he tries to get a spot.
Wow, there are people making aggressive moves all over the place. There's Rahal coming through, then Tagliani.
Time to go. You're out of time.
Whoa! Dust shower.
A little dust off. I think that was Saavedra.
Castroneves going to the inside of.
We're ready.
Oh, now Viso spins.
Viso has spun, but he keeps it going.
Spin it around. Let's go.
No caution. 8 laps to go.
Yes, by Hunter-Reay.
There's Castroneves in 6th.
Behind him, Geico colors of Tony Kanaan.
Here comes Tags, yeah. Serving his penalty.
And Robert is with Sebastian Bourdais.
Seb, first off, are you okay? It was a big impact.
That was a very bad impact. The tub is broken in 2, and the gearbox pretty much went through my shoulder. So it was a really bad hit, and it's a shame. I feel very bad because at first I don't know what happened. The car just refused to turn, and it's my mistake for sure. It's me turning the wheel, but I have no idea what happened.
You had a great race going, especially when you're holding off Dario on your black tires. That might have been as tough a 10 or 30 laps that you had to run all year.
Yeah, and everything was working out great because then we were going to finish with the better tires. We had a brand new set of tires, and the problem is, we were in the mix of a battle with lapped cars, and they were racing us pretty hard, and I wanted to stay ahead, and I guess I should have just given up.
Well, we're glad you're okay, kid. Back to you, Bobby.
And we understand Ryan Hunter-Reay will get a drive-through. As we focus up front, that's Briscoe, Power, and the third place car is Dario Franchitti.
Oh.
And now, well,
wow, Dario all of a sudden is right on top of Power.
Hunter-Reay lost 23 points in that incident. He's now 35 behind in second position.
And look back behind Dario is Rubens Barrichello.
Yeah.
Everything's coming right for him today.
Barrichello fourth, Rahal fifth, and Castroneves, Pagano, Hildebrand, and Tagliani. Here is the drive-through for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Tenth place car is Tony Kanaan, but he's a lap down, 9 on the lead lap.
And that was for the contact with DJ.
Right. Now Briscoe puts a little bit of racetrack between himself and Power.
And Will would be feeling pretty good if he didn't have Dario right behind him. But he has to stay with it and be sure that all of a sudden he doesn't get into a situation where there's some wheel rubbing or something that gets Will Power off course. I don't know if you, Wally, but I always found pacing, kind of backing off and pacing is harder
absolutely.
Than running flat out.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, he hasn't backed it off that much. I mean, but yeah, when you're driving hard, you're so focused on what you're doing, and it's actually hard to slow down. It's hard to slow because you lose your attention span.
Yep.
Start making mistakes.
And that's why those that are really good at fuel save, that's kind of fuel save. You drive as fast as you possibly can, but then you're doing weird things like lifting off the throttle early and that kind of stuff, and that takes a lot of skill.
The drive-through penalty really didn't hurt Ryan Hunter-Reay that much. He is back in 20th spot. The last car 1 lap down. J.R. Hildebrand was not having a good race at all. He was back in the 20s, but he now is in the 8th spot in the San Francisco 49er colors.
Whoa, there's some more contact.
And
Serbia.
Conway spins.
Well, Serbia definitely turned him around.
There's Hildebrand that we talked about.
Just picked up another spot.
On board with him.
Good to see him, Oriole Serbia.
Be 2 spots because I'm sure Serbia is going to be making a visit to pit lane.
Yep, agreed.
Hildebrand from just down the road in Sausalito, California. Gained 7 spots since the drop of the green flag. Good race for JR.
Drive-through penalty, avoidable contact, drive-through, 22.
That didn't take long.
Yeah. Quite a few penalties in this race here after running.
Penalties, cautions. Man, what's happening?
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Starting to smell a little bit of blood.
I think it's so much that he just needs to be sure he maintains the gap to Dario. So all of a sudden, if he just needs to be certain that he doesn't put himself in harm's way, and if all of a sudden he needs to get by Briscoe to do it, he might.
Good day for Team Penske. All 3 cars in the top 6, including first and second. Ryan Briscoe's best finish here at Sonoma was second. That happened in 2008 and 2009. He's recorded 2 top 10 finishes. Most recently at Mid-Ohio, finished 7th and was 8th at Edmonton. Ryan Briscoe currently in the lead.
Will Power was getting those calls from Tim Cindric. 3 to go. He'll be coaching him through. When the countdown gets that low, usually your strategy pretty lays out pretty easily in front of you.
And none of these guys, I was just going to say.
They weren't using
Yeah,
push
they're
to
using
pass.
them, and now they are, yeah. Now, Frankitti's down to nothing right now, so he's Briscoe and Power have 34 and 57 left, and Frankitti's showing a 1.
Wow, Dario was right there. It's the second time we've seen Will Power not where we normally would see him. There's one other time here in 9 we saw that happen.
Will Power's on the radio, guys, saying that he's trying to hit the overtake. And you hear Tim Cindric talking to him. He's trying to hit the overtake, but it's not activating. So he doesn't know what's going on inside the car there.
And the drivers, I would have to say, are unanimous in that there is a push-to-pass delay. It was 5 seconds at the last race, Mid-Ohio, 3.5 seconds here. They're not big fans of that because that means, Wally, that when you're in the carousel, one of the highest G corners here is when you're having to hit that push-to-pass. So there's a move afoot to drop the whole delay and go for an instantaneous push like they had the first race in Edmonton.
Yeah, because like you said, they're right here, the carousel, you are pulling a lot of G's right here. You're turning the wheel. You're just hanging on. Oh, and I got to find this button to push it so I can find it. That just isn't going to happen. So
Briscoe and Franchitti both on the button, though.
Frankitti's out. He got his 1 second. You still get your 15 seconds if you had one left. So,
but as Marty said, Power, I've not seen Power's light come on here in the last 3 or 4 laps, and he's got 56 seconds left. So you could see when Briscoe used it the last time on the straightaway how much he gapped on Will Power there.
We'll see if there is a delay at all next weekend when we visit the street course in Baltimore, Maryland. Looking forward to that race coming up next Sunday. And then the finale in 3 weeks on a Saturday night in Fontana.
Hey, Bob, here's Rubens Barrichello. Man, what a run for this guy. His previous high water mark for the season, 7th at Iowa, 8th on a road course at Barber. He's currently P4. Great for not just Barrichello, but this race team. His drivers have been critical, of performance, but they're stepping up. They're, 4th right now with him. They're leading the Oval Championship, tied with Tony Kanaan for the lead in the Oval Championship. So, breath of fresh air for Jimmy Bassett and the KV Racing team. Great result for Rubens if he can hang on.
Yep, he's got Graham Rahal breathing down his neck, though. Meanwhile, in turn number 6, here is Ryan Briscoe. Just a few more corners to go, and he's on the push to pass.
Power got it worked out.
Only one more passing opportunity, and I don't think that's going to happen as Will Power is not close enough to Ryan Briscoe to make the pass. Let's see how things go here. Closes in just a little bit. And through corner number 11, and it's going to be a Team Penske win, but not the guy that we thought was going to win the race. Will Power finishes second to Ryan Briscoe, who wins here at the GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma. Ryan Briscoe wins the race. Power second. Dario Franchitti comes home in third. Barrichello holds off Rahal for 4th position, and Elio Castroneves finishes 6th. So it's a 1-2-6th for Team Penske. Pagano, Hildebrand will finish 7th and 8th. Let's talk to the captain.
Well, Roger, congratulating his guys, and how about that win for Ryan Briscoe there? I know you were a little nervous on that last restart. You can be honest about that now.
Well, I think, I didn't want these guys to get together. It was just a terrific day for both Will and certainly Ryan had an outstanding day. I think the guys in the pits made the difference here between the 2 cars. They were both good all weekend, and C1, 2, and Elio finished in the top 6. You couldn't beat anything like that. So great for the championship. Obviously, we see that Dixon had an issue, and so did the 28 car of Briscoe. So certainly Hunter-Reay, yeah. So to me, good day. Just got to move on now to Baltimore. Looking forward to it.
They start 1-2. They finish 1-2 today, Bob.
Ryan Briscoe records his 7th career victory. It's his first win since Texas in 2010. Ryan Briscoe with some donuts and a burnout. As soon he will be in victory lane, and we will talk with him when we come back to Sonoma Raceway in California.
little out of practice of it.
The GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma on the NBC Sports Network is brought to you by GoPro, the world's most versatile camera. Be a hero. GoPro. And by Verizon, official wireless partner of the IZOD INDYCAR Series.
Welcome back to Sonoma, where Ryan Briscoe has won the GoPro Indy Grand Prix. Ryan Hunter-Reay was running third in the championship mix. Contact from behind from Alex Tagliani. Ryan, I've never seen any driver so frustrated, just distraught. Your thoughts?
I raced so hard the whole day. I can't even tell you how hard I drove just to keep better cars behind me at times. You know, Dario was really fast, and to keep him behind me was no easy feat. And it's the usual Tagliani deal. I mean, that's what he's known for. I really can't. I can't get over that. That's unreal. I mean, with the engine failure last week and the Tagliani factor this week, it's changed the championship.
What'd you say to him?
You could imagine what I said to him.
All right, 36 points back now. 2 races to go, Bob.
Yeah, Will Power will take a 36-point advantage to Baltimore. Castroneves 41 behind, Dixon 54 behind, and Simon Pagenaud gains a position. He's now 5th in points, 85 behind, but just about looks like maybe a 2-person race here for the championship. Well, thanks for joining us here at the GoPro Indy Grand Prix of Sonoma, where Ryan Briscoe has come home a winner. We will be back next Sunday at 2 o'clock Eastern with the Baltimore Grand Prix presented by SRT. For now, we send you to Major League Soccer in Los Angeles.